call the Town of Pierson regular council meeting to order on Tuesday, February the 17th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. Yvonne, would you give us a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Mayor Ray Leonard.
I'm here.
Vice Mayor Robert Greenland.
Here.
Councilman Jimmy Anderson.
Here.
Councilwoman Lenny Richardson.
Here.
Councilwoman Brandy Peterson.
Here.
Town Attorney Scott Simpson.
Here.
Town Planner Mark Gregg.
Here.
Deputy Clerk Ryan Smith.
Here.
And I know the Volusia County Sheriff is present. Oh, he's over there.
All right. Lenny, would you please lead us in the invocation, please?
Gladly, sir.
Thank you.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, I come to you tonight with great thanks for this beautiful day you have given our precious community. Dear Lord, I ask that you continually protect our citizens and all that may pass through. Dear Lord, I ask you to bless this council, our staff, and anyone that has anything to do with the workings of our great town. Dear Lord, tonight I beg of you to please grant comfort to two families, the family of Carmi Burnside and the family of John Flowers. Please grant them strength and peace as they go through these horrific losses. Dear Lord, I ask that you please grant us wisdom to make the best decisions for our town as a whole. And I ask these things in your great name. Amen.
Amen. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first item of business tonight is approval of some minutes from a meeting. It's going to be the regular meeting that happened on February the 3rd, 2026. Has everyone had an opportunity to look over those minutes? Does anybody have any changes or additions or deletions or anything they wanted to make?
The date on it says Tuesday, January 6th, needs to be changed to Tuesday, February 3rd.
On the minutes?
Yes.
On the tippy top.
Okay, I see it. Anything else?
I move to approve the regular council meeting minutes from February 3rd
With that change, correct?
with the change making from Tuesday, January 6th to Tuesday, February 3rd.
So moved. Is there a second on that?
Second.
Motion on the floor to approve the regular minutes from February the 3rd, 2026, and a second by Councilwoman Lenny Richardson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So carried. Moving on to new business, item number 5A, I'm going to call on the Volusia County Sheriff's Department. And if you come up, we'll get the screen down for you, and you can give us your, tell everybody who you are. And
I'm Andrew Calkins. I'm the lieutenant, the assistant district commander in District 2, which serves the DeLand, DeLeon, Pierson, Barberville areas of Volusia County. Tonight, I'm just going to do a quick year-end review for the town of Pierson. Go over a couple of statistics for the past year, some technologies that we have implemented, and answer maybe any questions you guys have. Wait to get this big board down. So can everybody kind of see that, or? Oh, there we go. Perfect. All right. Like I said, this is the year-end review for the town of Pierson. We'll go through it. So some significant events we've had. So on July 4th, we provided some public safety services for the town of Pierson during the annual July 4th event. It was managed successfully. We had no interruptions. Minor complaints. There were some few minor complaints that are handled, but everybody looked like they had a good time. Another well-organized event that was planned out well and executed, so there was no issues with that. Following up with that, we had the homecoming parade, which I was a part of. This year, we had a different route, which was actually much appreciated because it was actually easier to close down just the one road. And much safer for everybody involved, I think. It was, again, no major incidents. Was able to successfully redirect the traffic down around while the Taylor High School had their homecoming parade. A couple pictures of that. Some accomplishments here in 2025. We, with the city of Pierson, we have a substation now right here next door. It opened in June, but we were able to put some equipment and desks and everything in there for our deputy that's assigned here, along with our 21 zone deputy. It's got some BWC docks and computers and desks that they can sit down and do their work, conduct investigations, follow-ups, and greatly helps us without having to travel back down to DeLand to get any kind of materials or paperwork or citations or Dr. BWCs for review. So that's much appreciated. Going into stats. So for this year, or last year, we had a total of 460 traffic stops. 145 of those citations were issued, 232 written warnings, and 83 verbal warnings in the city. Going through calls for service, we had 3,836 calls for service last year. As you can see, all the ones that are high are self-initiated by the deputy. Extra patrol, 1,278. That's something that's self-initiated by the deputy. People request like patrols of the residents or businesses. The deputy usually will log out on extra patrol, get out, check doors, make sure everything's in place and how it should be. Same thing with the Sex Offender Act program. Basically, that's us checking on any sexual offenders or sexual offender checks. Traffic stops also up there at 460, like we talked about in the previous slide. Property checks, we did 505 property checks last year, checking on people's properties and making sure there was no issues. Same thing for miscellaneous law enforcement calls. That's usually something that we log out to do like a miscellaneous investigation or anything like a telephone handle call or anything like that. So, like I said, all those usually, all the high ones, the walk and talk, and also 93 there. That would be, getting out of the car and making contact with citizens and, talking to locals to gather any kind of information. So, as you can see, I would say 98% of all those calls for service were self-initiated by the deputy. Going into miscellaneous deputies activities, we kind of went over this, but we did the 1,000, over 1,200 extra patrols, 500 property checks, school zones. We also do school zones during the day up there at Taylor, sitting in school zones and making sure everybody's obeying the speed limits and help making sure nobody's driving too crazy through there while the kids are out of school. 305 radars. That's the deputy proactively logging out on roads that we get consistent speeding complaints on and running radar there for a period of time to slow people, give out warnings or citations and slow people down. Other miscellaneous calls for service. Telephone handle calls, that's usually some people calling in for advice, civil advice. Again, property checks, over 500 of those. We had about 20 motor vehicle accidents, burglar alarms, people, their alarms going off at their houses or business alarms. Animal complaints, usually stemming from dogs or domestic animals when it comes to those. Other calls for service that wouldn't be included in those would be fire calls, anything that fire needs assistance with. We had 15 of those last year. We had 27 fleeing drivers through here, 27 reckless drivers. Usually those are coming from, we have license plate readers around the area. Those usually come in off those or from random citizens, people coming up down 17, calling in people that are traveling a little too fast. 7 trespassing calls, pretty low. 2 school threats, which is amazing considering how we were doing at the beginning of last year. Some of the significant events here, not too many. We did have a school threat back in March. We received a Fortify Florida tip. For all you don't know, a Fortify Florida tip is basically where anybody in the school system, usually the kids, can submit anonymous complaints or non-anonymous complaints through this Florida Fortify tips. It goes straight to us in law enforcement. We look at the tips, we investigate the tips, and we have once the tips are investigated and are closed, we close them out. This particular one was regarding some comments that were made by 2 juveniles at the school. One of the juveniles was making threats about bringing a gun to school. Obviously, this time and age, we take these things very, very seriously. We have a behavioral threat unit now that actually is solely responsible for these, and they are on call pretty much all the time, taking care of any types of cases like this. During the investigation, we reviewed the social media chats, saw that all the various threats were made in various social media. We had a second juvenile was involved, and he too made credible threats of harm. We were able to make contact with both of them who confessed that they were the ones who made the social media posts. Both were arrested and charged accordingly and taken out to our Family Resource Center at the Juvenile Detention Facility. So. Another incident we had was a motor vehicle and train accident back in July, where unfortunately 2 individuals passed away from train tracks. Our traffic homicide unit came out immediately and responded and assumed that investigation. Back in August, we had an aggravated assault. At this time, I was in investigative services, so I'm very familiar with this one. We responded to a 911 check, found a victim sitting in his vehicle. I actually reviewed the body-worn camera footage. Deputy did a fantastic job. Carbajal did a fantastic job going up there and providing life-saving measures to this individual, applying pressure to his neck and taking care of him while EMS and services arrived. He was transported to the hospital for medical treatment. He survived. We responded with additional resources, and the individual that was suspected was in the wind. During our investigation, around September, a couple days later, the suspect was located and turned himself in peacefully up there at the Chipper Jones ballpark. He was charged with attempted murder, and he was transported to the Volusia County Branch Jail, where he still is at. There's a little snippet of the caller calling in reference to that case and the takedown.
And this is the same crossing the street, right?
I thought he went more into the woods, but then I thought he was just sitting there.
Okay. Can I airdrop this one, sir? I'll have to 24 copy of the description.
In this case, Deputy Billy Galarza did an excellent job talking to the subject, getting him to surrender himself peacefully at the Chipper Jones ballpark there without incident.
Blue jeans, Hispanic out, just hands up, like so. It did take the infractions, and whether we know if it does or not, I mean, it's a game, it's just because of the push. So, yeah, I gotta do everything. He has confidence in us that we won't draw guns. Obviously, he's a shooting suspect, so, I mean, we normally draw guns up, but we keep my word with him and give him, he's gonna have to shut off everything, no guns, so it should be a quick, normal, just a handgun. It's coming to us,
He was dropped off by a family member there, and he was obviously just nervous considering everything that happened. And Deputy Galarza did a great job getting him to surrender and come back to us peacefully. So. That's about the best we could hope for right there. So. Moving on. Back in September, we had a motor vehicle theft. This was actually a ring of individuals out of the Lake. Oh, actually, they were all over the state of Florida, but coming out of Lake County. They came over, stole a 2017 Dodge Ram truck with a trailer and a Can-Am side by side. They left another stolen vehicle, a Mercedes, that was stolen out of, I think, Lake County at that time. Going to our technology, we have those license plate readers. The victim's truck was last seen going back into Lake County. Upon further follow-up, about 2 weeks later, we got information about another stolen vehicle reported traveling into Volusia County, a separate vehicle, not the vehicle that was the Dodge Ram. We later spotted that vehicle. We deployed stop sticks down there around the De Leon Springs area of the park. The truck fled. There were 3 suspects that fled on foot. 2 of them were apprehended immediately. One, we tracked deep into the woods out there towards the river, and as we caught up to him, he turned around and pointed a gun at 2 of our deputies. We got a number of additional resources in there, including our SWAT team, to come in there and do methodical searches of the area. Eventually, about a day or 2 later, he was seen coming out of there by the park. We went back in and successfully took him into custody and charged him with a host of felonies, and cleared both those motor vehicle thefts by arrest. So this is some video of that, the stop stick deployment, which is a textbook stop stick deployment.
Stick it.
Eventually, we caught up the truck. The truck pulled off into one of those side roads, forestry roads, where again we were able to get canines up there and track down 2 of them. Tracked down all 3 of them, but the other one was obviously with the firearm that you'll see here. Multiple agencies came and assisted us: DeLand, FWC, FHP. A number of resources came and assisted us with this call. As you see, we're up there. We're getting about waist deep water out there in the swamp. This is a couple days later when he actually came out of the park. He was dog bit. But he was fine. He's taken to the hospital, was checked out, taken to jail. So, but that ring right there, that guy was responsible for dozens of motor vehicle thefts across the state of Florida. A lot of agencies were trying to look for him and solve their cases, and we were the ones that ended up getting him in custody and getting all those cleared and charged on him. So. We can go to some UCR. This is our uniform crime reporting. So this is I'm going to give you some of the types of crime definitions. We have both Group A and Group B offenses that we report to the FBI, I think. So Group A offenses can include our criminal homicide, forcible rapes, robberies, which is whether it be armed robberies, strong arm robberies, home invasion robberies, ag assaults, burglaries, larcenies, which include car burglaries. Somebody breaks into your car, that's a burglary. Shopliftings, larceny bicycles, motor vehicle thefts, which is, so that last case would have been a Part A crime, and arson. We also have what's called Group B offenses. These are other assaults, so simple batteries, domestic violence, usually. Frauds, usually also pretty prevalent these days. Vandalisms, sex offenses, gambling, driving under the influence, vagrancy, and disorderly conduct. So going into our person and property crime stats for last year. For persons crimes, we had a total of 43 calls, 3 ag assaults, 6 robbery domestic batteries. I know everybody looks at the robberies for DVs. In reality, these are literally a domestic violence call where somebody would have taken a phone out of the other individual's hand. The definition of a robbery is anything by sudden snatching. So usually that's where somebody takes a phone out of their hand or some kind of object out of their hand. That's how they get charged with the robbery. And simple assaults make up most of the persons crimes up here. Domestic disturbances, assault batteries, 13 of those. One person shot call, that was one we saw the video on. Obviously we were able to solve that one and get that person into custody. Property crimes for last year, we had a total of only 18. That's pretty good. 3 stolen vehicles. We solved, I think, all of them except one, maybe. 5 thefts, 7 trespassers, no car breaks at all. No burglaries to a residence, to a business up here, and only 1 shoplifting. So this is our CompStat monthly and our year-to-date comparisons. This is what we look at when we look at how we're looking at on our crime. So the main column you want to look at is the one to the far right there. 2024, we had a total of 34 persons crimes. In 25, we had a total of 37. So right about where we were the year before. The year going down to property crimes, you can't really probably see it, but we had 16 in 24 and 19 in 2025. We'll show you the clearance rates on those here in a second. This is our fibers. This is the Group A offenses. We had total 66 there. This is what matters probably most concerned about. So these are offenses that were cleared by arrest. We had 1 kidnapping or abduction, solved that, cleared that one by arrest. Forcible sex offense, we cleared that. 3 ag assaults, we made 100% arrest on those. Simple assaults, we had 1 intimidation that was mostly probably filed with the state attorney, probably due to certain facts of the case, and 2 stalkings. So when I look at this, a 97.3% clearance rate for persons crimes is incredible, where the national average is somewhere down around the 20s or 30s. What's incredible is if you come into the city of Pierson and you commit a persons crime, there's a 97% chance that you're going to go to jail. So those are very good statistics. Property crimes are also very good compared to the national average. Our national average is somewhere again around 30% solve rate. We had a total of 19 here last year. 15 of those were cleared, either by an arrest or exceptional. If you take out this, going back to the robbery, domestic violence, again, that was a DV incident that had a robbery where somebody probably stole a phone or something out of the other individual's hand. The motor vehicle thefts, we solved the two out of the three. One was two of them were the one guy that we showed the video on. Frauds, 50%. There was 2 reported up here. To solve even one of those these days is incredible because the likelihood of solving frauds with overseas individuals is very rare. These are very complex cases to work. So a total of 78% clearance rate on that. If you take out the one fraud, you're up to about an 85% clearance rate. So that's also incredible. 85% chance you're going to go to jail for commit a property crime here in City of Pierson. We made a total of 112 arrests here last year. Total Group A crimes cleared 92.42%. Again, pretty good. Going some narcotic stats. So 2025, we seized some methamphetamine. We had in 2025 we had 2 overdose deaths, 4 overdoses, which 6 naloxone doses were given for those. Going into the overdose deaths, the Sheriff's Office is pretty unique in that we have a unit dedicated in the Investigative Services section to investigating overdose deaths. Those deaths go to the Overdose Task Force. That task force is responsible for investigating the individual who sold their narcotics to that person. To prove those is very complex, but we've been very, very successful in those over the last several years. To make those cases, those people get charged with first-degree murder if we can prove that they were the ones who sold them the narcotics. I had a successful case when I was in investigations, prosecuted. The guy ended up getting, I believe, 15 years for selling some heroin to an individual over in Deltona. So pretty unique. There's not a lot of people around here that do that, the proactive overdose deaths investigations. So we have a couple of guys that are on that unit out there that take all those cases and conduct follow-ups. Usually if we can't make an arrest, if there's something an issue with it, we're still able to make some kind of narcotic arrest out of it via, just investigations. Going into some stats, just for the total of the Sheriff's Office, last year we made over 10,000 arrests, 1,200 narcotic arrests, over 260 DUIs. We had a total clearance rate of 80%. Again, like I said, that's far above the national average, which is somewhere down in the 30s. We seized over 1,700 grams of fentanyl, which is enough to kill 1.2 million people, 17,000 grams of cocaine, over 27,000 grams of meth. Our fraud investigations, again, going back to something that's pretty unique about the Sheriff's Office, we have what's a dedicated fraud unit now that gets sent, that investigates all high-dollar fraud crimes. They are very prevalent everywhere in the country right now. What's unique about that unit is they are actually seizing money from bank accounts where some of this money is getting deposited, and we're turning that money back over to the victims in some cases. So they've seized a total last year of $1.1 million, and have seized, and since the inception of the unit, over $1.5 million. They've made arrests all over the country, from California to New York. I'm sure you see on Facebook, we extradite them and we bring them back here to face justice and hold them accountable for preying upon people when they're most vulnerable. Countywide dispatch, we had over 300,000 911 calls. We had over 1,300 911 texts. We had almost 280,000 non-emergency calls. So very, very busy. Some of the technology I like to highlight The Live 911 system is something that we have in every patrol car. The Live 911 is where we can literally listen to the call as it's coming in before dispatch is even inputting it in. I'll give you a great example. A couple days ago, I don't know if you guys saw, but there was a elderly female that we pulled out of a burning house a couple days ago. The reason we were able to get there so fast before fire even got there and save her life is because of Live 911. We were able to hear it before it was even dispatched. We were already en route. We got there minutes before fire department got there. We were able to get inside, pull her out, and she is going to make a full recovery, all because of our technology that we invest in. Our LPRs, instrumental to solving cases, not just solving criminal cases, but solving, missing persons cases, people that, we're looking for that might have, made some suicidal texts or whatever that are missing, endangered. We use those a lot. Those are very helpful for us to help find people that are in a crisis. We have a NIBIN lab. We're one of the few that have a NIBIN lab. We are able to process gun evidence in-house. So we can literally take a shell casing off a scene. We can put that into our NIBIN lab, and within a few hours we can tell you what gun is linked to other cases with just that shell casing. So we can link cases all around the country. We link cases back to Seminole County and Orange County, and then we follow up those with the other detectives that are working those cases, and we're getting those results within hours. We now have AI in our emergency calls in the dispatch center. It's helping us with taking calls for service. They've had 121,000 calls through the AI program in 5 months. And all those are reviewed by an independent dispatcher to ensure accuracy. So it's very nice for them to have that out there. We have raving gunshot detection that we use for for gunshots in the area for rapid response. We have Andy, which is rapid DNA. We used to be able to have to send that out to FDLE and wait months to get that information back. We can now get those results back in legitimately like a couple hours. So we can have a guy that broke into a house and get DNA, and we can establish their DNA in the system. We could have them in custody within hours just from purely on DNA. We also have the Campus Guardian Angel program, which is a pilot program that's coming for these schools. Talking about just Air One, we had almost 1,000 flights, 96 medical calls, and 113 assists on apprehensions. So very busy year. Like I said, last year, very good clearance rates up here in the city of Pierson. Just a little conclusion. We're committed to approaching every investigation with diligence, and our strong clearance rates reflect that success of those efforts. And our primary mission is obviously based on the number of cases we solved in the town of Pierson throughout Volusia County. These achievements are results of proactive strategies that are always acted upon with a sense of urgency. And our deputies in Texas are committed to ensuring the safety and protection of everyone in the town of Pierson as we continue to work together to prevent these crimes and protect lives. So, battery's running low. And that's the conclusion. So, appreciate y'all's time. Hopefully it wasn't too much, but sometimes I get a little rambling, but if there's any questions or anything, I'm sure we can answer them for you, but overall, pretty good years there for clearance rates. So. All right? No problem. Huh? Okay. Before you leave,
be moving on here in just a minute. Before you leave, I'd like to offer a compliment to the sheriff's office on a call that happened on my property a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Your guys responded quickly. They responded with enough deputies to get the job done. The bad guy was caught. He did a whole lot of damage on my personal property, armed trespass, armed burglary, and so on and so forth. We were able to get photographs of the guy, thanks to my neighbor. And we caught him right away. He's still in lockup, I think. He was a juvenile, 15-year-old juvenile.
Yeah.
And the only thing we're missing right now is the weapon that he used to do all the damage with. But I think we're probably going to hone in on that before the week is over.
Yeah. Well, that'd be good. If you find it, we can also give us a call.
I mean, we got pictures of him with it in his hand. But it would just be, it would help satisfy my own soul if I could find the thing. So, I worked law enforcement for a long time, and I've found little bullets, guns, and everything. I don't know why we can't find this yellow-handled pickaxe, but we will.
You come back, yeah. Come back eventually.
But I just wanted to let you know that I appreciate that, and you guys responded very well.
No problem.
All right, thank you. All right. Okay, moving on to item number 5B, the Robotics Club financial update. Kim Godwin.
We're switching Kim to John Hersey.
Okay. Your name is John?
John Hersey, yes.
Okay.
Thank you all for seeing us tonight. 2 years ago, this council was generous enough to sponsor this club with some funds. I think Twyla Guzman was here, asked for $350 just to help out. It started out this year anyway with 3 students. That's it. Okay, this club's been running for about 5 years, and we have had our ups and downs. Surprisingly enough, our first big up was just 3 years into this competition. And let me backtrack a second. This is an after-school club, that's it. There's no classes, no nothing. So they get together after school/weekends. They build a robot for what's called First FTC. It's an 18 by 18 inch robot, and they have to build it, put it together, program it, understand all the rules and regulations of the competition. The competition changes every year. They also have to compete with and against teams of 2. And the nice thing about this whole competition is the fact that they are partners and foes in the same day. So they compete about 4 to 6 times in a daily competition, and at the end of the day, there's a ranking. Throughout this entire season, they ended up being ranked number 3 this year throughout the season. Although they didn't win the actual championship for districts this year, they did earn enough points because of all their hard work to be able to move on to state competition March 6th and 7th. The team is really just composed of the 3 kids, now 5. They're just brand new starters within the last couple weeks. And the fundraising obviously is very hard for them to get out, build, and be able to do all the other things they want to do to promote the club and collect funds. So obviously parents, myself, reach out and we give them a hand with that. If the program can build, which is tough over at Taylor to get these kids drawn into it, you know, it's funny, at the end of everything we do, we say we're from the Fern capital of the world. But in this little Fern capital of the world, there's this itty-bitty little robotics club that is doing amazing things. Their team is called Doomba, and that came from the very first match that they ever did, which was actually a battle bot that the Volusia Manufacturers Association puts on, and they just decided to keep the name. We thought about changing it, but we can't because they're known. And they last time they went to state competition, they didn't win, but they did win an award because of their unique design that actually worked and performed well. And this year, they also won an award because of their ingenuity. So they have, in 5 years, they have 7 awards under their belt, and this will be the 2nd time going to state competition. And they are, I don't want to say it to them, they can't hear me, right? They're probably about that close to potentially going to world competition, which is in Houston. So we've been fortunate. Yep.
Awesome.
We've been fortunate to have some support from parents and a couple of other places to get us to state competition, but that deletes our funds pretty much. We maintained since 2 years ago, we really haven't done much fundraising because we feel like we need to fundraise when we need it. So we've been really, really good stewards of the funds. Taylor Middle High, we can't get funds unless it gets approved through them. So we don't have a cash card. We can't just run out and go, we like that, we like this. So the funds are not only well respected by the group, but they're also respected by the school. On top of the fact that we have several people in the parents who just throw their money into it when it really should come from their fundraising. Sebastian back there and the whole crew is here in the, we have Sebastian and, oh, I thought one of the Zachs back there. Sebastian Kavanaugh back there, a 10th grader. Zach Hall over here, a 10th grader. Zach Godwin, an 11th grader. Max, I believe 10th also. Okay, and Abigail, freshman. So we still have a couple years to make sure that they get to world competition, and they're going to do it within the next. If they don't do it this year, they'll definitely get it done. So, do we have a couple seconds to show you how to robot?
Sure.
Let's let them bring that thing over here. What happens is every year they do what's called a kickoff, and they explain the game. This year, the game is they have to shoot balls into not even a bucket, it's like a corner. The only way to do that is they have to build something that'll actually collect the balls, but they have to have it go through a system and shoot the ball, and you have to maneuver it into proper place. Aside from that, they put a sensor, if you can see the yellow light on top, there's motors on there. When the camera reads the distance to where they need to shoot, the light comes on, and it tells them, okay, click the button and go. There's an autonomous, so they have to program the heck out of this thing where they just hit a button and they just stand back and they pray everything goes well. And then they shoot the balls in. And then after that, they pick up the controllers. You see one of them right there. They'll pick up another controller. One person will drive the robot. Another person will make sure that it's lined up and that they're controlling the sucking up the balls and then shooting it. Technical terms, obviously. The last thing that this team really got recognized for in this the district competition, which happened out in Orlando, we compete with groups from Brevard County, Volusia County, and also Orange County. So they started out with about 22 to 24 teams. I forget what the actual number was. They ended up having 18 in the final throws of it all. But you can kind of see on the edge. Can you go ahead and lift it? Okay. Oh, okay. Let me get that away from them. So one of the other things they do is they have something called endgame. In endgame, y'all feel free to look around. In endgame, if you can lift your robot up and have another robot come underneath you and park underneath you, it's 30 extra points. That doesn't mean anything to you, but it's huge for this team. Go ahead. This team was the only team to have a lifter in this competition. One other team finally put one on the last go-round, but it didn't work. Theirs worked from the second game to the last game. They did have a couple of issues. It was a huge crowd pleaser the first time, and then on this last competition, it fell over 3 times. Mostly because they're terrible at this, clearly. Look at that thing. But when it came down, the robot that was underneath, because of the way it hit, and it didn't have a ratchet system, which they have added, it hit it and the weight tipped over one way, which kind of hurt us on the last round. I'm going to say they would have won this competition hands down, but it just didn't happen that way. I'm trying to think, am I missing anything, guys? Look how good I am. Okay. You want me to throw the ball?
Sure.
All right, throw the ball. So again, the goal is they move to a certain spot, and then they have to align it, but they do have a camera that helps them align and tell them where to, like when to shoot when the light comes on. Now, it may not come up now because we don't have what's called an April tag on the box, but what happens is don't hit them. By the way, those parts that you see on there, obviously you see a lot of metal. Those are fabricated. They came in. But a lot of those black parts and the plexiglass and things like that, 3D modeled and printed. And printed in the home. Taylor doesn't have a print station. So a lot of the work gets done at the house, actually, of the Kavanaughs. And the guy back there is very proud of what happened, which we all are. has a good shop where the kid can get the work done. But this is probably the first year, honestly, that thing right there, built, designed, programmed 100% by the kids, the mentorship that comes in from the people around us are bouncing ideas from them to us, and then they decide what to do with it. So this is truly a team-driven robot right there, which we can't always say about some of the other ones. You ready to catch?
Sure.
All right, he's ready.
All right.
Good job.
So you'll notice those purple and green balls. Oh, funny enough, the things that they have to do is they have to also build an engineering notebook. The engineering notebook is basically the roadmap from start to finish. And it doesn't seem like a whole lot. You take some pictures, you put it in there. But what they look for when they're doing their point system, by they I mean the judges in the program, is they're looking for where did you start, where are you going, why did you change? And a simple thing that they did, you see those bands that are on the wheel that picked up the balls? They realized that a lot of times the schools use like a surgical tubing. But what they noticed is that sometimes they get broken. Well, what they did was they found like bungee cord material. So if something does snap, there's still left. There's still stuff left. So they look for little things like that to add to their notebook, because there's all kinds of awards that you can win. But the biggest thing this year is points. But they have to look at everything, start to finish. The final thing is, I know that they're not speaking a whole lot right now, but they have to do interviews. So they go in front of judging panels, and they have to talk. Those soft skills that some of these students out here don't really, I'm not pointing over here, I just mean in general. I do a lot with the tech community outside of school, talking to them, and the number one thing they say is, these kids are awesome. They can figure out a lot of things. What we need them to be able to do is communicate with others, talk amongst each other, work with other teams, and problem solve. And this program is what does it every time. They talk to other teams, other schools, in our state, other state. If they end up going to world competition, there will literally be teams from other countries there. And to have that opportunity from little old Pierson to get out there and talk to people from Africa, from Israel, from China, from all over the world, literally, would be an amazing accomplishment for them. So the biggest ask for us is just to allow them to continue. We're kind of fortunate right now that we've got a lot of our state stuff covered, but this is clearly not their final season. So whatever we do, if we don't use the money right now, it is going to next season. And on top of this, sorry, there's always more, they're also aligned with DeLand High, University High, and what we're calling now the Triforce team doing FRC, which is a robot that's 4 times that size, goes about 50 miles an hour, competes 3-on-3, basically in a basketball field. We've never done it before, but now they're spending every Saturday over at DeLand High with those other teams building that robot. So, and what they're all doing is they're all kind of getting their funds and pitching in for what else is needed. So just because this is our main thing that the kids do, there's so much more. I'm still trying to talk them to do something called Sea Perch again, which is an underwater drone, which they did 2 years ago, not only at state, but they won first and second place in an underwater drone competition. So I've talked a lot. Any questions?
That's awesome. That's
very good.
These young adults or students, I should say. Hopefully, here in the near future, we'll recognize one of them and their names on national TV with some kind of a big.
The robot wars.
Exactly. Something big, maybe at the space agency. Who knows? Who knows where they may go? But
they were on channel 2 years ago. 6?
Spectrum.
What was it? Spectrum. Oh, so they were on Spectrum News 2 years ago when you all helped us and we went to state competition. They videoed them right in the hallway where they used to do their practices. Mm-hmm. But you're right. Yes, you will.
Yeah, what I was going to say, the aerospace industry. Yeah, yes. Hopefully we'll see one of the students in the aerospace industry here in Florida.
And I would tell you the teams they go against, you'll see their sponsorships. Mm-hmm. Currently, we have a couple of insurance companies that are looking to take care of us. Spartan did 2 years ago, or last year, but I'm not sure, they got a lot going on over there. But the teams these guys are going against literally have NASA, Boeing, big space agencies that are backing them with those mentors on the team, especially over there in Brevard County.
All right.
So the fact that these guys kept up with all of them in third place
Awesome.
all year long is a testament to how hard they worked and how they have to work together and keep building and learning how to compete even against the big boys.
Good deal. Very proud of you students. Keep up the good work.
Pick it up and bring it on back. Unless somebody else wants to drive it. Anybody in the audience want to drive it?
Thank you guys for giving us the time to show.
Sure.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
welcome.
Thank you for
showing us.
coming and showing us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, can I make a motion that we donate $300 to the Robotics Club for their state competition?
You
Making
can.
that a motion.
I'll second it.
There's a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Brandy Peterson to give a $300 donation to the Robotics Club at Taylor High School, seconded by Vice Mayor Robert F. Greenland. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So carried.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, and good luck.
Yeah, best of luck.
Best of luck.
We'll definitely update you on what happens in a couple of weeks for sure.
All right,
Good deal.
thank you. Moving on to item number 5C, this is ordinance number 2026-02. This has to do with our charter committee, and it's the first reading, and I'd like to turn this over to our attorney, Scott Simpson.
Last meeting, some of y'all hadn't had a chance to fully review. What we were talking about is the ballot summary language. If you want to do first reading tonight, we can do first reading. If you all want to still massage or change some of the language or discuss the language, we can do that. And we have plenty of time to do first and second reading still. But however you want to proceed. And we can change the language in here between first and second reading. If we could do first reading tonight and then
Right.
change the language, and then you approve it, and then we bring it back for second reading as it was changed tonight. So however y'all want to do it, just let me know.
You think we want to maybe review this a little more, or do you want to go ahead and, because we can change it between now and the second reading if we needed to, so.
Whatever the pleasure of the council is.
Do y'all want me to read the first reading of the title, so y'all could make a motion in a second, and if you wanted to vote on it?
Yes, let's do that.
All right. Ordinance number 2026-02 by title only for first reading. An ordinance of the town of Pierson, Florida, adopted pursuant to Florida statute sections 101.161 and 166.031, setting forth an updated town charter to be submitted to the voters on the town at the general election on November 3rd, 2026, providing for the ballot summary and title for the proposed amendment, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing for an effective date.
Is there anybody in the audience have any questions on this? Any discussion council members would like to do on this? Bobby?
Maybe the audience would like to hear from our council of the, just
A brief summary.
a brief summary.
Can you let them know a brief summary, Scott, of what this is encompassing? It's not it's nothing major.
Right. It's nothing major change to the charter.
The ordinance that we're doing is required by law, and if you're going to put forth some type of a referendum, there's certain things we have to adopt an ordinance, and that ordinance has to have certain information in it, and one is the ballot summary. And the changes to this ordinance, didn't actually bring it. I don't know, Ryan, if you recall, but the ballot summary as proposed, we had a charter review committee that was formed. A charter review committee consisting of residents proposed updates to the town charter to clarify residence requirements to qualify for elected office and the election process, providing for filling of vacancies, created a forfeiture of office procedure for elected officials who engage in certain prohibited conduct, and to make the charter consistent with state law and with the town's practice and procedures. Do you have the charter with you, the redlined or anything?
I mean, I provided one to the council at the last meeting, but I don't.
Yeah, but you don't even have one
I
now.
don't have a copy in my
Let's
possession.
see if I can pull it up. So I could.
Essentially, the Charter Review Committee was formed to look at the town charter and decide if we wanted to make any changes to it. So we took out a lot of redundant language that was in the charter because a lot of that is already, those powers are already granted to us as a town by state law. So there was a lot of stuff that's, the original charter was passed in 1929, and it outlined all the things that the council was allowed to do, right? They're allowed to levy these fines, and they're allowed to, have these regulations and all this stuff. Well, that is all already granted to them by state law. So there was a ton of the charter that just seemed redundant because it's a given, that's what they're allowed to do. So we basically removed a lot of that language from the charter. We added provisions on how elections are held, how seat vacancies are handled. Essentially, we whittled the charter down from 8 pages to 5, and then we added back the stuff about filling vacancies and forfeiture of office. It bumped it back up to, I think, 6 pages. So then the question was, do we put each individual change as a separate question on the ballot? So in other words, do we want to have 10 questions on the ballot that says, do you want to change this to this? Or do we just want to have one ballot question that says, do you approve this new version of the charter compared to the old version of the charter? So I think the Charter Review Committee's recommendation is probably the easiest just to do one ballot question. You take or leave the whole thing, essentially. So that's what the council has to decide now. If they approve this ordinance, they're approving the language to just put one single ballot question on. And then what would happen is the town will be able to provide the existing charter, and the proposed changes, and residents would be able to review that before the vote, so that they would know, this is what changed. And so if you read the ordinance, that the ballot question that Scott is proposing, what it would say on the ballot is, a charter review committee consisting of residents proposed updates to the town charter to clarify residency requirements to qualify for elected office in the election process, providing for the filling of vacancies, created a forfeiture of office procedure for elected officials who engage in certain prohibited conduct, and to make the charter consistent with state law and with the town's practices and procedures. And the ballot would basically say, yes, I'm in favor of an update, or no, I'm not. So if the council approves this and they move forward with that, that is how it will be presented to voters. And if you don't approve it, then the next option is to either change the wording of it, if we don't think that sufficiently summarizes the new charter, or I guess we could always go back and break it out into individual questions. Do you want to add forfeiture provisions? Do you want to change how vacancies are filled? So that's what's before you.
I pulled up the red line version on my computer. I would say the biggest change, if you want to say it's a big change, is we really put language in there about the election, clarifying how the election is conducted, and we also made provisions that the elected officials can forfeit their seat. Now, once you have a language in there that says they can forfeit their seat, then you have to, for certain conduct, then you have to create the process. What is the process by which they would forfeit? So we outlined the process that the commission must follow if they want to go through a process to declare that one of their elected officials forfeited their seat. The forfeiture of seats are you fail to meet and maintain all qualifications to hold office in the town, and that those qualification requirements are in the charter, and we made it clear in the charter this time. It said you had to reside in the town. Well, what does it mean to reside? We switched it to you have to be a permanent resident of the town, as opposed to reside in the town. And so if someone gets elected and then they move out of town, they no longer meet the qualification requirements. They forfeit their seat. If you violate the charter, if you violate an express prohibition of the charter, the commission can forfeit your seat. If you're convicted of a crime involving moral turpitude, you can forfeit your seat. And fails to attend 3 consecutive regular meetings of the council without being excused by the council. So the council can excuse somebody if they're sick or whatever the proper justification is. They decide what that proper justification is, they can do it. But if someone just doesn't show up for 3 consecutive meetings, then they can forfeit their seat. So that is definitely a new provision that the Charter Review Committee recommended. And then once you have that provision, that you are could potentially forfeit your seat. Like I said, you got to then create the process by which the council conducts the determination and the hearing to make the determination that elected official did forfeit their seat. So that's probably a whole page that we've added into the charter about that. The other thing about, we clarified some language about filling vacancies, and the Charter Review Committee came up with some really, I think, good, unique language for dealing with that. You have 4-year terms, so you either have them run for the unexpired term, or they can be appointed, or you leave it vacant. Those are your 3 choices. And what we set up, what the Charter Review Committee recommended, and what's being proposed is there's always a qualifying period before election. So every 2 years there's an election. And then there's a qualifying period for election. If a vacancy occurs more than 2 weeks before that qualifying period starts, then that vacancy will be filled through the election process for the unexpired term. So if you have someone who is elected to a 4-year term, year and a half into it, they move out, they die, you have now a vacancy, that vacancy will be filled at the next election for the unexpired term of 2 years. But if it's inside of 2 weeks, instead of incurring the cost of running a special election, the vacancy will be filled by the city council, so by appointment. So that was a pretty unique and innovative proposal from the Charter Review Committee. And I think really those are the main things. As Ryan said, there was language in there. You know, they talked about the powers of the city, and that was very old language. It predated probably constitutional amendments to the state constitution and Florida law that created something called home rule power. So we just made it clear, well, the authority we have is what's granted to us by the state constitution and state law. That's the power we have, and that is what we have today, but you just have some antiquated language in there about the powers that you really don't need to specify, because like Ryan said, in the prior to home rule, if you wanted to do anything as a city, your charter had to specifically identify that power. And if you didn't have it specifically identified in the charter, then you couldn't do it. Well, now the law and the state constitution says we have all the authority of the state government, whatever the state can do, we have that except for certain limitations. We can't violate, the state constitution. We can't charter county. We're subject to charter county rules. There's certain things we can't violate where we're preempted. But other than that, we're pretty broad in what we can do. So we made that clear, and then there was some language in there about the authority of the mayor that we just clarified what that was, because there were some things that I think it actually had you being like the judge of election or judge of the code stuff, and a lot of old judicial powers that we antiquated, and we really don't do. So that's when the language talks about make it consistent with state law and our current practices. That's what we're talking about. There's just some things in there that needed to be changed because it's either inconsistent with state law and it just creates confusion because someone sees it in the charter and they think they can do it, but state law has preempted that and you really can't, so you might as well just take it out. Or we just don't do it. We're just not going to follow it.
And there was stuff that we took out that the town just doesn't do anymore. Like we select a state depository for funds.
Right.
I mean, obviously we have a bank account, but some of that stuff. there's
Some,
right
just
now.
antiquated stuff. Yeah, so, and that's the part of this ballot summary that was read that talks about make it consistent with state law and make it consistent, the charter consistent with current practices and procedures. That's what we're talking about. But the red line version of the charter will be available to anybody who wants to review it at the polling place. It'll be there to look at so you can see what the changes are. And as Ryan said, we had a choice. We either made a question for every single change, or we just asked one question, do you want this updated charter? Yes or no? If you do every single change, it could be a lot. You know, try to address every little change we made, even if it was just correcting a scrivener's error. You know, you got to propose that as a question. So we decided, or this council and the Charter Review Committee recommended that we just submit a new charter. So, an updated charter.
Luckily, ours is short enough that it's not hard to read. I mean,
No.
if you were the city of Ormond Beach, you wouldn't want to propose a new charter, it's 100 and some page long. But
Yeah, that's true.
ours is 6, so.
Doesn't take long to read.
No.
It's pretty light.
And it's a lot shorter than it used to be because y'all changed it.
Right.
Back
It
about
used to
10
have
years,
all
10,
of our
12 years.
ordinances in it, and it was literally like 90 or so pages, and then they pulled all the ordinances out
Yep.
and just left the meat of the charter, so. It's already been shortened once, now we're just cleaning up some of the old antiquated language in it.
Can I ask one question?
Uh-huh.
How did it handle the boundary of the city?
That gets changed just by annexation. So every
Okay.
year you get, that doesn't go through a referendum approval.
Okay.
When the annexation comes in and that gets approved, the boundary just changes. And technically, we're supposed to file an updated boundary with the Secretary of State, I think. Or at the state, say, all right, here's our new
Okay.
boundary based on the annexations. So, because I think when you look at an annexation ordinance, it says, file a copy of this ordinance with
It has to be
the Volusia County,
All right.
you know, and also with the Secretary of State or something like that. But I think it's, every now and then, I think cities need to take, I don't think it's actually a requirement, but it's good to say, okay, we need to redo our boundary. At some point, after you do a few annexations, instead of putting little sticky notes or drawn lines, you know, with a crayon or something to say, okay, now the boundary goes over here. Update every now and then, every 5 years, or whatever it is, update it if you've had a lot of annexations so you have a new good boundary. Because I have seen cities where they just don't update it and they just kind of go back in and piece
Yeah.
things from the
Daytona is like and.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard to follow
Yeah.
sometimes.
Okay.
But technically, the boundary is changed when we do the annexation. And the boundary map is just a demonstrative aid to help with that.
Okay. Does anybody have any other questions about the ordinance itself?
I think your options are tonight, you know, you can, hey,
We have the first reading.
well, you can pass first reading as is, you can make changes to the language, pass first reading, or you can say, let's do first reading again next meeting. You can do that too. Whatever you want.
I think if anybody wants to make a change, then I think we ought to just go ahead and do the first reading at our very next council and just do the first reading and get that done and
Tonight.
at our next council
Hopefully,
meeting.
the people that are here,
That'll give them a
the
chance.
council too, you know, we'll spread this around, you know, because we want everybody to know that it is just taking out a bunch of old language.
But that'll
What it
give you
amounts
guys
to.
an opportunity, anybody that's interested, to get a copy of it or look at a copy of it and
But, Mr. Mayor, can't we do that on second reading anyways?
You can do.
we could.
Because this, I mean, we've just spent 30 minutes
Well,
on
let's
this.
go
I
ahead.
mean, to have a first reading.
Council is approving the ballot language that
Yeah.
people will read. It's not whether or not they agree with the charter.
Right.
Right, yeah.
It's just, this is what they'll see in November.
It's in the ballot.
So you've got between now and November to pass out copies of it or whatever
Right.
we need to do.
Right.
So,
The benefit of actually probably adopting this is your charter review committee then disbands once you accept this. So once you approve it, you accept it. Some of the charter review members expressed interest in going out and campaigning, for lack of a better word, to help spread the message about this whole new charter. affiliated with the city, they have limitations on what they can do. Once they are no longer affiliated with a city, cities, the law only allows us to educate, not advocate. So we can say this is what it is, we can't tell you to vote for or against something. But once they're off the charter review, they can go advocate too, and educate. And we don't have to have second reading next meeting. You can do approve first reading tonight, spend the next month talking to people and getting out there, and then come back and do second reading in 2 months. It's really kind of open to you all what you want to do.
So what is our timeline for publication?
Well, for the ordinance, we have to advertise 10 days before reading, just like any other ordinance has. 10
No,
days.
but I mean for
To get it to the
Yes,
supervisor
supervisor
elections, it's into July,
I
August?
think it's July, but
It's into July, beginning of August sometime. We have to get them the ballot language so that they can get it on the ballot.
Was there something about this that y'all are liking? I mean,
No,
just-
I mean, if you,
No, it's more like if there's something about it y'all don't like, or you're not 100% sure of,
August 18th.
August 18th
Supervisor elections for the November.
for the November election. Okay.
okay, I'm open if someone wants to make a motion on ordinance 2026-02.
I move to approve ordinance 2026-02
On its first reading.
on its first reading.
Motion on the floor by Councilwoman Lenny Richardson to approve ordinance 2026-02 on its first reading. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Jimmy Anderson. Yvonne, would you please do a roll call vote on this?
Councilwoman Grady Peterson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lenny Richardson?
Yes.
Councilman Jimmy Anderson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Robert Freeman?
Yes.
Mayor Gray Leonard?
Yes. Let the record show there was a roll call vote for ordinance 2026-02.
You want a second meeting in the next meeting? So the second reading in the next meeting? Yes.
No, why don't we wait a while? Why don't we
Wait a month?
wait a month
Let's
and
give everybody a chance to.
if they have any questions, to come to a meeting or whatever.
Just a reminder, this ballot language can only be 75 words.
Yep, only
Right.
75 words.
It's pretty close already, it's 60. So
Okay.
Right.
67.
Okay. But
Okay,
yeah,
so the
let's
plan
not do it at the next meeting, but
But at the following.
meeting.
Second meeting in March.
So like about a month from
Yes, the
today.
second meeting in March.
We'll schedule for second meeting in March.
All right. Thank you. Moving on to item number 5D, it's, there's a water leak on Glen Haven, and it's over $500. It needs our council approval. I think the total bill here was $695.85. Ryan, are you familiar with this?
I'm not, I've got notes here from Marcy. Water leak, normally they're allowed a one-time or once annually adjustment if they have a water leak. And usually what we do is we take an average of their water bill and we subtract that from the water bill, and then whatever is left over, we divide that by half and we forgive half of that amount. So Marcy's math shows if you took their average off, it would be $671.11, and that would mean you'd be forgiving $335.56.
That would be what they would owe. Correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
the town would forgive $335 and they would owe $335.
Right.
The reason it came to council was because it's over $500.
Right.
So Marcy couldn't just.
I don't recall seeing this resident's name anytime lately. So
No, she did.
I don't know if she's ever requested a
Well, she hasn't requested one in the last year, that's for sure.
Right.
Ryan, can I ask you just a quick question just on the math? So if we deduct 2475, which is their average, are we saying that they're going to pay the average and then we're forgiven half of the overage, which means they would pay 2475 plus 335?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're only deducting the $335.
Okay,
So
you're
whatever
deducting
the
that, so-
difference is what they would still owe.
So they owe 335 plus 2475.
$24.75.
Yeah,
Just make sure it's clear.
basically, it's like $380.
Yeah, I mean, basically, all the council's really interested in, I think, is they're approving the forgiveness.
the forgiveness of the 335.56. I make a motion that we approve the forgiveness amount of $335.56 to resident Maria Avila,
Bila.
located at 682 Glenhaven Avenue.
Okay, the motion on the floor by Vice Mayor Robert F. Greenland to approve that deduction of $335.56 for Maria Aliba at 682 Glenhaven Avenue, Pierson, Florida. Is there a second?
Second.
Who second?
Brandy.
Brandy, seconded by Councilwoman Brandy Peterson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So carried. Moving on to item number 5E, it's a solid waste contract. And I'm thinking there's a gentleman here from GFL.
Well, this probably won't be nearly as exciting as the robotics, but that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, for sure. Well, for the record, good evening, Mayor and City Council folks. My name is Skip McCall. I'm the Government Contracts Manager for GFL. Was here a couple of weeks ago at the last meeting and talking through some of the efforts that we've been going through to look at your contract and working with staff and the attorney to bring back a better contract based off of those conversations and some of the things that we talked about, like introducing maybe some bulk collection as an option for the residents. So went through those efforts and just here tonight to kind of present to you some of the things that we did relative to what I just spoke about, and just, again, working with Brian on some of these changes. And we have, on our part, executed the draft agreement, and just want to talk to some of the things that we did for changes and just get your feedback and any questions or comments we would entertain to answer. So, again, I guess I would just start with opening up to questions, or the attorney or staff had any questions for us.
Can you elaborate on what changes you made?
Sure, yeah. So really, basically what we did is, I know the last time when we were here, we're keeping everything status quo. Okay, so nothing changes for your collection from March 1st through September 30th. It would be the same as we are doing everything right now. So the billing will be consistent as we are doing it, which is us doing that. And then, of course, in this contract effective October 1st, that would be the town's responsibility to go to the billing, and then that's when you guys are a tax roll at that point. So we did make that change into this contract, in the agreement, that states that we're going to do just that. We did add a provision in there. There was 4 or 5 items that, for liquidated damages, for example, so like if there's some litter or some spillage on the truck that, put inadvertently fell on the ground, and we didn't come back and do our job and clean that material up, that there's an opportunity there that if we didn't correct that we would actually have a liquidated damages fine. That was one of the things that was suggested to incorporate within the agreement, and we did just that. The franchise fees also is a part of this contract as well, kind of more of a continuation. And then I guess the last thing is, we talked about rate at the last council meeting. I know I stood before you, and I said that when we do this, that we would not exceed that rate that was out there from, I believe, FCC, $24.95 and change, I believe that was. So kind of how the rate structure is with this renewal term, basically new agreement, is the effective rate for residential billing is at $23.50, effective March 1st. And essentially what that is so every year we have a CPI calculation that we do for the town. And so like basically that would be the CPI that we would have received anyways, basically, if we had another 2 or 3 years or another annual renewal for this agreement. And then the new rate would be effective on 10/1/2026, would go to $24.75. And that rate would be in place from October 1, 2026 through September 30th of 2027. The bulk container question that came up, or the bulk collection. Yeah. So what we ended up doing is, what we didn't want to do is we didn't want to burden the rest of the residents with the, let's say if we had to add on an extra, and just hypothetically speaking, $2 a month to do bulk collection. They may not use bulk collection, but they may. So we didn't want to burden the town with saying, okay, well, we're going to increase the rate by X, and if you use it, you still have to pay for X. So what we ended up doing is adding it in as an option for the residents to call in should they have bulk material that they would need to get collected. And how that would be administered is they would call us, we would go out, we would look at that bulk pile, and it's basically $25 per cubic yard. A cubic yard, good rule of thumb is generally it's about the size of a 3x3 type of a block, if you will. And that's what, and if there's 2 or 3, however much there was, that we would collect that material. And also the comment did come up and we did address was the yard waste. Like some of the big piles of yard waste that could be accumulated, the bulk waste would be a part of that as long as it was in like 3 inches in diameter and over in 4 feet in length is manageable yard waste. So if a resident had, a big pile of limbs or something like that they wanted to get collected, they could call us and we would do that as well. As long as it's within, we're not going to go get a whole oak tree, obviously, but if it's in a certain diameter that we can collect, we would offer that as well within that $25 per cubic yard rate structure. And this agreement would be for a period of 5 years with the ability to be able to negotiate renewals at the end of that term based on successful negotiations between council, staff, and the contractor, GFL.
How's this agreement going to affect businesses with their commercial dumpsters?
Yep, so that...
The way it stands right now, they have to use you guys if they want to have a dumpster.
Correct. And we left everything status quo in that regard. So in this contract, we didn't change any of that where they would have to use GFL for their provider. That would still be consistent as we're doing it today.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
And I will add too, by the way, the robotics thing, again, that was super cool.
Yeah.
So if you guys go and decide to move forward with this, part of what we do is we like to be involved with community events and donating back to the town. I think we've done some of those in the past. So I would probably say that something like that would come up. We would definitely entertain looking at trying to help, those young folks that were here. That was really awesome, and that leadership that they have. We definitely want to stay ingrained and be a part of the community involvement. So I just say that could be an opportunity for us to be able to do that as well. So
Thank you very much.
right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item number 5.
Don't you have to-
We have to approve the contract.
Are we going to approve the contract tonight?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
So,
We had a workshop.
Okay.
in my
I
opinion,
didn't have a contract in front of me.
this is just my personal opinion,
This is a summary put together.
Okay.
it looks to me as if the tax-paying residents would get a hell of a lot more with the FCC contract.
Is there,
It does seem that way.
Just to let the audience know, there's some differences in there.
Yes,
GFL, you get one 96-gallon cart. FCC, you get a 96-gallon cart and 2 personal carts. The recycling is 1 weekly. The yard waste, it's a weekly collection on the yard waste with FCC, and GFL, you just heard, is 25 per cubic yard. There's 4 weekly, you can have 4 items weekly in your bulk item. So if you just put it out, they will collect it, where GFL is billing 25 per cubic yard. The only downside, just so residents know, if we go forward on putting this on the non-ad valorem to put them on the taxes. Your taxes for the first year will be like 19 months, 16 months,
About 18 or 19 months.
18 or 19 months on that bill. But then after that first year, it'll only be 12 months because we can't put it on the tax bill until November, and we have from March to November to.
On the contract.
On the contract.
The town.
So the town will absorb that, and then we will get it back later. But just wanted to know, your tax bill is going to go up some, but in comparing the rate monthly, there's only a couple cent difference between
17 cents.
the two of them. But at this time, it looks like FCC gives us way more options, and we've had lots of complaints regarding the issues with the trash over the past couple years. We've had lots of complaints, and we're just trying to do something better. So if anybody wants to put in your input before we make a decision as council, we did have a workshop last week and completely went through all of this.
Robin, did you have a question or a comment?
Well, I have a question, Robin Green, 570 North High Street. I did have a question, but Ms. Brandon, you answered it, I was wanting to know what the difference was between the two. Does it sound like there's a lot? Respectfully, like a little more for my money. No offense, sir, but I have argued with GFL several times around this pickup and trying to get them to come back. Just so you know, your customer service people told me it was fine to leave my garbage on the curb for a week. Out here, we have bears and coyotes, and it would be my problem if they checked and put that trash everywhere, not theirs. So respectfully, I will do it with somebody else.
The difference, Robin, the difference in the cost, if you do it per monthly, the rate monthly, at GFL is $24.75. FCC.
It will be.
It will be. And FCC will be $24.92.
I think the extra money is worth it.
And the fact that it's going on the ad valorem tax roll is going to be exactly the way it is on the county. And that's going to ensure that every person that lives in the city is going to be having their trash picked up and going to be paying their fair share for trash picked up.
So the only comment I would like to add is it would be really nice to do that. And then over the past couple of years, we tried to do some Pierson cleanup and get trash and things collected. It would be nice if everybody had it and we could all keep our streets clean.
Well, if it goes on the ad valorem tax, everybody will have it, and everybody in the city will end up with their trash cans and recycle bins, and there would be no reason for them not to put that trash out
It will go
and
on
use it.
non-ad valorem regardless.
Regardless.
And it's going on non-ad valorem.
The only difference would be if we go with GFL, it will only be from start November on the
Right,
tax
it
bill.
would stay as is for
FCC.
now Until, basically, it would run the fiscal year. So if we sign with GFL, they would keep everything as is. In other words, you pay GFL directly for your account if you've got one from now until September 30th. And then October 1st, the new contract would start. Every resident would then, it would be on their non-ad valorem assessment, and so every resident would then have trash. If you go with FCC, that has to start March 1st. So the town's gonna front that money for 7 months, but then it's going to be a prorated amount on the tax bill. So your first tax bill would be for 19 months of trash, which if you're already paying, if you are an account holder with GFL, you were gonna pay it regardless. There are some people in town who do not have trash service, and so that might be an issue with them. Bobby, we talked about some exemptions, and I do have that in here, so we'll go over that next. But yeah, just so residents know, we had a public meeting about this at the end of last year. We have started the process to do the non-ad valorem assessment where your trash will go on your property taxes, or on your property tax bill. It's not really a tax. But in that regard, then everybody in town, regardless of who the solid waste contract is with, will have solid waste. If you're already paying for it, we're hoping that you'll utilize it. Maybe cut down on some of the issues we see in town where trash piles up, or people throw it in someone else's dumpster when they're not looking, or they're burning it, or they're burying it, or bulk pickup wise, the town has always provided a dumpster at the airport for residents to use, but if you have bulk pickup, you would eliminate that because people could just put it by the curb. So that's kind of where we stand on it. And I'll wait, Bobby, if we do have exemptions, we'll talk about, because that'll have to be in update to our ordinances.
Right.
So we'll talk about that next, but.
Ryan, quick question, so the 2475 is what goes into effect in GFL's proposal on October 1st?
Yeah.
The 2492, is that the same rate that will go in effect on October 1st? For
I think
FCC?
so. I'd have to go back and look at the county's contract. If so, it's not going up by a lot.
It'd be, but like whatever, it could be a COLA adjustment.
Yeah, basically.
Because this is 2492 is what it is right now.
Right. And it's probably in the county contract. Yeah, but that's what we would immediately start paying now.
The 2492 compared to, what did you, right? 23 something.
75?
2350.
2350.
Okay.
Yes, sir, I want to go back.
Thank you, thank you.
Yes.
Just to clarify a few notes too with that. Our rate of $23.50 and eventually $24.75, that includes your disposal. The $24.92 does not include your disposal.
It does, so.
So do you got that clarified?
We had that. We
Because
fixed that.
they're, okay. Yeah, because their collection contract is collection only, so.
It's, the $4 and some change is the actual disposal.
Okay, and then just the other point that I wanted to make too is, I did bring this up at the last council meeting, is the fact that you do have about a year, FCC has about a year left on their contract. So if you had a workshop last week, you're probably already aware of some of those things. So again, this is a 5-year commitment. You have a guarantee. It's going to be on the non-ad valorem tax, just like FCC would be. So, I mean, again, we've been your partner here for almost 10 years, so we know the city town very well. And to some of the complaints, we've heard that. I mean, we've talked about it, and that will completely, I would say 99% that will go away when you go to the non-ad valorem system, when we don't have to do any of these stickers like we talked about every quarter, when we have to go out. Again, just like my presentation 2 weeks ago, we would give the city or the town all brand-new carts, so you don't have all these different stickers that are out there. The collection system is going to be completely better because of the non-ad valorem issue that we've been dealing with, or that we haven't had. So, again, you're not going to be giving like a subscription service, and that has caused challenges in this town. And no fault to our own, but that all goes away. So, and again, to the point earlier, that rate of $24.75 again is in effect from 10/1 to 9/30 of 2027, and then it just follows general CPI, just like your FCC would. But I just say those things because has been doing this for a very long time in this industry. A 5-year commitment is something that is going to be a guarantee versus if FCC, let's say next year, they want to say, hey, we're going to renegotiate our contract with Volusia County. And I will tell you, this is happening throughout the state of Florida. I see it. This has been doing this for a long time. They're going to go back and they're going to go, Volusia County, they're going to say, hey, we need a rate adjustment. We need a rate adjustment of X, whatever that number is, right? I mean, we're seeing cost inflation going up. So they come back next year and say, hey, your rate now is going to be $28. Okay, so that's something that I just mind you to be please cognizant of, because when they're renegotiating that contract with the county and for next year for another 5-year term, the county has the option to either accept that negotiation with them and renew the contract at I'm sure a higher rate, or they have to go back out for bid. If they go back out for bid, then they're going to have to procure a new hauler. Well, the new hauler could be somebody with a rate that's going to be much, much more than what's being on the table in front of you tonight at $24.75. What I'm saying with the GFL proposal is you have a guarantee, and you have rates that are guaranteed, and you're going to have a system that is going to completely change. It's going to be so much better effective 10/1 when you go to the non-ad valorem tax bill.
I got one question. On this $25 for bulk, a small bundle of garbage, it don't cost you $25?
No, sir. Absolutely not. No. That's absolutely
what it's saying right here.
No. Bulk is considered something that would be like a piece of furniture. Okay, so it would be like a chair. It would be like a couch. So what we're saying is, we're going to take, if residents have little things of, let's say, yard trash debris, let's say if they have little grass clippings, if they have limbs, they can put those in their 96-gallon cart. So they can also use a 35-gallon personal cart. So it's not that they just have one 95-gallon cart. I think I heard that with FCC, they have a cart and maybe an extra one, whatever that is. We're doing the same thing now within the town. Same thing that we're going to do with the new contract and keep going with that. It's a 95-gallon cart that you can put grass clippings in, or you can put whatever fits in there, basically, and then you'll have a customer-owned 35-gallon, Home Depot, Lowe's type deal, and you would need to put overflow in that, or you can put trimmings. The bulk is just that piece of furniture that needs to be collected, nothing any small at all. That's going to be collected with your regular weekly garbage.
Anybody else have any more questions?
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Crystal Ward, 136 West Second. My concern to the trash is that the billing has not been fulfilled properly. The $25 a cubic feet, maybe I'm misunderstanding that they would come out and look at it and then assess it and pick it up. Well, by that time it should be gone. So in the price difference and stuff like that, the inconsistencies already we could fulfill, hopefully with the other trash company. But I don't think, my personal opinion is that GFL has not fulfilled residentially or commercially as they promised. So if we sign with them for 5 years, the inconsistencies, they're not consistent now. What makes them 5 years from now if we get in a contract, are they going to stay consistent? So it's just a little conflicting. And to put that in consideration, $25 a cubic feet when people are already struggling to pay, which turning it into the taxes is amazing, is a great thing, but there are people that do struggle, and we're already trying to fix, clean up Pierson a little bit more. So we're adding an extra bill to our residents per cubic feet, and I don't think that's fair to our residents when they're paying it in their taxes. Maybe GFL can adjust their contract and fix that, because that is going to be an issue.
Thank you.
Anybody else? The one question I have is on this bulk pickup for the $25 per cubic yard or whatever it may be. How are we going to go about collecting that? If the basic rate is going to be on the ad valorem taxes, so we're going to have to contact GFL directly, the person will?
GFL bills the customer directly, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So they would the residents would call us, and we have our facility. Jake Pack is our district manager. He runs the Orange City facility. We have a line that they would call in on, and they would say, "Hey, I have a piece of furniture out here. I need to have it collected." But the $25, again, obviously, that's just if they want to use it, it's there for them to use. It's not something that's going to be charged just
But my
at any
saying
time.
is, so if I called you to come pick up a sofa?
Yep.
And you come pick it up, am I gonna have to pay the $25 before you pick it up, or are you gonna send me a bill after?
No.
How's that gonna work?
No, generally, and Jake, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but generally what we would do, we would send a supervisor out to look at the pile so we know exactly if it's $25 or $50, and then that we would assess it, and then we would bill that, I believe, via the credit card to the resident.
Yeah, Jake Pack, GFL Environmental. And the pay as you put it out, it was an option that we, 5 years ago, or the city decided they didn't want any bulk. And the city decided they didn't want yard waste. And so when Skip came and said that bulk was an option, we could certainly look at putting bulk into the new agreement. But it was more of an option, and we didn't want to burden. Right now, there's 700 residents, 400 of which pay, burden every single resident with a bulk collection that nobody in the town's had in 5 years plus. So, but if that's really important, we could certainly incorporate that in to where there's not a per cubic yard fee at 3 yards. Most contracts are three cubic yards or so a week. So.
Well, FCC, according to this here, it's not gonna cost you nothing extra for them to pick it up.
It's built into their rate. That's what
It's built into what we gonna pay them a month. It's not extra.
Right.
17 cents
I mean, we're looking at what our residents,
but right now.
saving them money,
But this is
not costing them money. That's the difference to me.
This is $23.50 now, so you're looking at $1.42. And this will probably go up 3%.
Yeah. Anybody else? Thank you.
Yeah, there's a lady back there.
Yes, ma'am.
Melissa Thorne, candidate for Volusia County Council District 1, that's your district. I just did a little Google search, just so you know. The initial term with FCC with the county was 7.5 years, so that goes through late 2027, just FYI. Extension option was in their contract up to 7 additional years, potentially extending the contract to 2034. The contract value was $87 million. That was the base, with a potential total backlog of $170 million if extended. So I don't know if that's going to be added on. If the county decides that, yeah, we're going to go with FCC, and FCC says, well, now the rate's going to be $170 million you're going to owe us, then that's going to go way up. Now, it's a lot of ifs, right? It's a lot of ifs, because we don't know which way the council's going to go. If they're going to go with FCC, if they're going to make them hold their feet to the ground and say, no, you're not going to jack us up to 170 million. If you're going to stay at 80, you know what? I need some better glasses. 87 million as a base. So just FYI. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's 2027, that contract is up.
Correct.
Any further discussion? Okay, I entertain a motion on these contract proposals.
I feel it's the best interest for our citizens to go with the FCC contract. So I move to approve the FCC environmental contract.
So that's to approve the piggyback of the FCC.
Piggyback with Volusia County, yes.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor by Councilmember Lenny Richardson to approve the FCC environmental piggyback contract for our solid waste disposal. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councilmember Jimmy R. Anderson. All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion's carried. We're going to assume the FCC environmental contract. Okay. Moving on to item number 5S, this is RMC Utilities, various water system repairs, and I'm going to turn this over to Deputy Clerk.
Oh, wait, before we go to that.
Oh, okay, yes.
This is kind of an informational thing, so we talked about, are there going to be any kind of exemptions for residential sector? Because as it stands right now, our ordinances say every resident in Pierson has to pay on their non-ad valorem assessment for trash. So, you know, we had talked about there's businesses in town, they pay for a commercial dumpster, should those people have to pay for residential service if they're already paying for commercial service? So I just drafted this as an exemptions thing, potential amendment to our ordinance. It's very similar to DeLand, or to Volusia County, but Volusia County was actually the opposite. Volusia County was, if your commercial property, you could exempt yourself from commercial if you have residential or something like that. But ours is the opposite. Ours is you can opt out of residential if you have commercial. So basically, I just said criteria exemptions from the requirement for solid waste for owners or occupants of residential property shall be granted as follows. They should be granted by the town clerk on individual parcels that contain residential units and where the owner or occupant can demonstrate to the satisfaction of the town clerk that the solid waste generated on the property is being disposed of on the property in conformance with all applicable rules and regulations, where the owner occupant collects and transports the solid waste generated on the property, provided that waste is disposed of at a designated solid waste disposal. So that's like Hagstrom's has rental properties,
Yeah.
right?
I think we need to, this will probably come up when we do our assessment,
Okay,
because you can't exempt somebody through the year.
okay.
Because you have to exempt them at the time you adopt your assessment, because you're going to levy the assessment on for the whole year on that property. And I remember talking about that with Chris Rowe in Lake County, going to an exemption, who gets exempted, so that, I mean, I'm not saying you don't have a good idea, but I think it will come up when we do our assessment resolution, but you're going to have to, we're going to have to do an assessment ordinance to create the solid waste assessment. And so that'll be coming forward, and then we probably need to address that as part of that process, and we can have Chris's input on that, because you can't exempt through the year. So it's going to have to be somebody that we tell the property appraiser, don't put an assessment on their tax bill. So they're going to have to know in advance. So we got to think about, usually it's a classification. For instance, what I remember is, and then this isn't going to apply here, but in Lake Helen we went from, when we went to the solid waste assessment, or any assessment, how do you levy assessment on a property that doesn't pay taxes? And if they used to not pay taxes, and if you were going from, in Lake Ellen, we were going from a fire service to a fire assessment. So the service was paid for through taxes, then we were going through an assessment. The church didn't pay taxes, so they didn't pay for fire service, but when we went to an assessment, they were going to pay for fire service, so we had to create an exemption for a church, so they were basically on the same footing. You're going to have to create a process whereby somebody comes in sometime in the summer. Anybody who wants to be exempt has to come in the summer, and they're going to have to be, a decision is going to have to be made that they are exempt for the following year. You see what I'm saying? And so we're going to have to create that process, if that's what you all want, in the assessment process. I think that I'm not saying what you've written is not a good idea.
That's just not how it was presented in my property appraiser.
Yeah, but I don't know how you're going to be able to exempt somebody throughout the year. You're going to collect the tax. They're going to get the bill on November, in November to pay for the entire year. So I don't know how you exempt them throughout that year. I mean,
What was the property appraiser's opinion?
Well, the property appraiser basically told me to go ahead and figure out who was exempt and take them off the list now before we even started the trash list.
oh, well, yeah, you take them off now. But say somebody comes in halfway through the year and says, hey, I should be off the list too. You can't take them off then. You're going to have to take them off the following year.
Well, that's their prerogative, the way I look at it.
They have to come in.
If they don't do it to start with, if they do come in, say halfway through the year,
They're gonna have to wait.
They pay them for 6 months.
They're going to have to wait.
They're going to have to wait till the following year.
Exactly.
Yeah, they've already paid it for the year. They're going to have to wait to be removed from the assessment list each one time a year is what's going to happen. So that, and that's why I'm saying when we do the assessment ordinance, we can tie that process into that.
If somebody moves in, they're not on the tax bill anyway to start with.
No, but when the person, if the house is vacant for the whole year, but say somebody is there when we do the assessment and they move out 2 months later, well, they paid for the whole year. They're not going to get a refund. So the person who moves in later, their predecessor who owned it paid their collection bill for the year.
Yeah.
Now, what you do is you get a tax proration when you do that so that
Right.
whole thing gets prorated when
Right.
the buyer and seller, and it
Right.
balances out. They work that out in the closing.
Right.
But there's going to be one payment.
That's where I'm getting to.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting to.
Yeah.
It balances out
So
at the
just
closing.
FYI, the county, I copied verbiage from the county, basically, and changed it to fit our needs. But it's in 2 places.
Okay.
In the county ordinance, it's in their solid waste collection, how the exemptions work, but it's also in their ad valorem section of how they collect ad valorem.
So that's
In other
the thing we
words, it spells it out in both sections.
Okay. So
Here's
we're
how
gonna-
you're exempt from the taxes, and here's how you apply for exemption.
Yeah. You know, last meeting, y'all retained the services of Chris Rowe, who I've worked with before, who specializes in this stuff. Huh?
I haven't brought that forward yet.
I thought that was last meeting you wrote.
He emailed us, but I haven't.
Oh, okay, all right. Never mind.
But it's going to be on the next meeting now that we know
Okay.
which direction we're going.
Okay, but, you know, I recommend that, what I've told Ryan is, when you first go into an assessment, doing an assessment the first time, it's really good to hire one of these specialists to help you do it right the first time. And then it creates a model that you can follow thereafter. But putting it in place and doing it the first time, it creates a process for doing that. And it's very beneficial. You don't have to use them every year, but to get the process right the first time is very important. And he'll help us with the ordinance and everything. And the ordinance will include these exemptions that we're talking about here, and we can modify both ordinances to do that.
What about the housing that's around here that's vacant right now? Now, is that gonna be exempt from trash? Or are they still gonna have to?
They're supposed to be paying for the garbage pickup regardless. I mean, that might be vacant right now, but somebody could move in it next week. I mean, no.
Okay.
That's just the cost of having a vacant.
I know, like Miss North's house, they don't even have electricity at it now. Eventually, she said her daughter's gonna move in there. But right now, it's been vacant since Miss North died.
Yep.
Since that fire burned in there. Is it salvageable?
Yeah, just that one
Salvageable.
piece.
Yeah.
Just
I
that
tried to
one
buy it, but she
burnt.
don't wanna sell it.
Not the regular house.
She don't want to sell it?
This is the
No,
exact
she don't
discussion
want to.
that derailed it last time.
I'd buy it and store it,
You ready to move?
make me a little money.
All right, moving on. Item number 5F is RMC utility water system repairs. I'm going to turn it over to Deputy Brian. Yeah.
So, I'm sorry to do this to everybody. I'm always the bearer of bad news. We have a ton of water issues right now. Some of it's related to freeze. Meters have froze, backflows have froze, stuff is leaking. Also, some of it is going to be for the health department for sampling purposes, to make sure that we're compliant. So when people ask why did we increase our water rates, this is why. Because we're about to start doing a bunch of maintenance to the water system. So you got 3 quotes in front of you. I'll kind of go through them. They're labeled at the bottom, 1, 2, and 3. So the first one, this is for 12 commercial backflows. We have 12 businesses in town whose backflows have either failed or they're leaking so bad they can't be repaired. Part of the problem is when everything froze, a lot of the residential ones are underground, but the commercial ones are above ground.
They're above ground.
Either they didn't get covered or, something. So, this is the price of 12 backflows and the labor. Our ordinances say that the residents or the commercial entities are responsible for the labor only. So that 2563 there, which is the estimated labor to install them, I'm assuming you would just divide that by the 12 businesses and you would invoice the businesses for the labor cost of installing the backflow. But we historically have provided the actual backflow. So you're looking at an upfront cost of $98.02 and $7,239 of that would be ours, and then we would try to get reimbursed for the other $25.63. So, and I don't know, Scott, if we should do this in separate motions, or can we do it all at once? Because maybe they only want to approve certain ones and not others. I'll present all 3 of them and then we'll decide how we want to approve them. So that's backflows, that needs to be done, and also I've talked about, I think it's on the agenda to set something for the water, a workshop or something for the water ordinance. the way it works in other cities is that we install backflow, but then all the commercial entities are responsible for getting it certified once a year and providing that report to us, and then they become responsible for it. The town has not been doing that. We used to have biometrics do it, and I guess we just ate the cost of it. So we need to determine how are we actually doing it, because our ordinance says one thing, and we've always done another. But usually that is the responsibility of the commercial entity that has the backflow. So, but for now, these are the 12 that we have found so far. Actually, Lewis told me about another one today at the Farm Workers Association that they tried to fix. We ordered a kit with new springs and stuff in it. It didn't work. It's still on one side. So there will be a 13th one on here.
So we can add another.
You can add another one
$3.
for the same price probably. I don't know what the labor difference would be. But I mean, we know what they are at the unit price, so. So that's the first one. The second one, this is to replace two 2-inch commercial meters. One is at, I'm pretty sure it's at the laundromat. It's been leaking for years, Lewis said. The meter out there's been leaking. I think
Probably 302 South Center Street.
Yeah, and so that's one of them, and then the other one is the Ag Farm at Lake Street. They haven't read that meter, they said in years, because it doesn't work right. So the price just for those two 2-inch meters is $51.08. And that's for our team to come out and do the whole thing.
That's installed?
Yeah, that's installed, because we do the little, residential ones, but the commercial ones are different, story altogether. And then the big one, I guess Deborah Knight at the health department has been asking for years for us to install sample stations. Sample stations are where they can go to different points. They want them at the very far ends of the water distribution system. Basically, it's a little green box. You can see the picture of it here on the thing, and it's got basically like a little hose bit in it. But to do that, you have to dig down to the main, you have to tap the main, all this stuff. So that total comes out to $15,377.
And how many of these are we putting in? 4. 4 of them.
Yeah, they're basically at the far 4 ends of the system, and then I have to, if we approve it, I have to do a whole site plan thing for Deborah Knight and show her where the sampling points are and tell her how many times a year we're doing it.
So that's just a hair less than $4,000 a piece.
Yeah, and so, and again, this is, they do all the labor, material, and equipment. That means they're coming to dig the holes in everything. We reduced a little bit of our costs on that one repair that night because the boys dug the hole for them. But it just depends on how busy we are and how deep the main is out there. Do we want to send Public Works out there? Will they knock some price off if we dig everything for them? That's a question we can ask RCM. But this price is for them to do it all, where we just give them the addresses and they take care of the rest. And again, these are, I guess the way they pull these now is they either go to a blow off or they go to a hydrant. Well, that's a problem, because if a hydrant hasn't been flushed in a long time, you gotta flush the hydrant and hope the reeds are good, whereas sample stations, they can just turn on those bid and pull samples. So,
I guess these are probably installed right on the side of the road, aren't they?
yes.
So maybe 2 months later, there'll be 4 broke.
They'll be run over.
They'll be run over.
Maybe.
Cost us $15,000 more.
Could be.
And this is
Health Department.
being basically required by the health department.
She did say it was required,
But-
but they just would prefer it, but, it's worked for us for this amount of time, so I'm just relaying a message from CWS and Deborah Knight at the health department.
Well, they're taking water samples now, and we're not having any major issues with it, correct?
Not that I'm aware of.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't know how hard it is for them. I don't know if they've had samples that weren't good, and that's why they're asking for them, because I do know down at Tequila's or whatever the little thing is at the end of town, the distribution line ends there, and there's a blow off there, and I do know that he got bad readings multiple times there, and he said it's because of the way they have to sample, because it sits in that line for so long. So he didn't think that the hydrant idea was something that we should be doing.
well, let me ask you this. If we put one of the sampling devices, sounds to me like it might be at that address, 913 South Center Street.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's going to be the difference between turning that spigot on and opening the fire hydrant? The water's still going to be sitting at the end of the line.
Exactly. Same way with out East Pierson.
Yeah, I mean,
End of that line.
maybe maybe we ought to readjust that automatic blow-off where it comes on a little more often or something. I mean, I don't know, but if this sits there and they go there and open the spigot to get a sample,
It's the same
gonna be
water.
the same spot.
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing sitting at the end of the line. I mean,
Well, and it could just be a matter of they're trying to make it easier. on them.
make it a little easier,
I don't
that's
know
what
if
I'm
the
thinking.
department has a fire hydrant thing or not.
Well, they've been getting water samples there.
I don't know if she does them, I don't know how she does them, to be honest with you. That's a public works question. When she comes up here, I know that Lewis usually meets with her, so I don't know if he takes.
Maybe
them out.
Lewis opens them for
Or
us.
she somehow has a way to get them from the blow-offs, I don't know. So, I mean, like I said, I'm just telling you what CWS asked for, and when I ran it by Deborah Knight, she said that that was something she had asked for in the past and didn't get it. But they've never dinged us for it, they've never penalized us for it, so. But the other two, I mean, the other two have been.
The other two need to be.
Meters have been ongoing issues for years. I don't even want to know how much money that maybe they lost.
The backflows protect your system, so you have to do that.
Exactly.
Right.
Oh, I mean, that's got to be done.
The first two items, 5F1 and 5F2, we need to go ahead and approve.
And I think that when we talk about this, it needs to be approved on the backflow preventers for the entire amount, and then we will attempt to recoup the labor costs from the commercial people.
Right.
And again, that labor price is based on the number they have to install, and they want to know the driving distance between each one. In other words, how long is a tech realistically going to have to be in Pierson? And I told them they're all within a couple miles of each other, so that part of it shouldn't be a problem. So, but that number may adjust depending on how long or how quick they can get it done. So this is just an estimate. Hopefully it's in that ballpark. But whatever that number is.
But
I'm guessing
instead of 12 of the backflow preventers, we're going to need 13.
It's going to need 13.
Which will add another.
Well,
4,000.
it's going to add another $603.25 plus whatever the labor is.
Yeah, probably around
It's going to be
$800.
$78.42.25 for the material. And then.
What's
again,
that, 8%
I don't know how they calculated the labor.
Probably add about 8% onto that total labor, will be the labor cost. Whatever that is.
That'd be the total then would be $27,680.04, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
So then your total would be roughly $10,600, $10,610.
1,610.
But I would just, like I said, we'll try to recoup it from the actual businesses. I'll just invoice them for it.
So are we all in agreement we're not doing these water stations right now? We're just.
I don't think it's.
I think the thing to do would be to contact CWS and ask them why specifically we need it, and let them tell us why, what the difference is between collecting.
I mean, they've been collecting those water samples for a long, long time, and obviously they've been doing it satisfactory because they've passed.
We'd heard about it.
Or we would have heard about it. And I mean, all that.
I know we've heard about it.
But it just makes it, all it does is make it a little easier. The valve is going to be at the end of the line.
Right.
Will they open the fire hydrant or will they turn a spigot on? It's the same water.
And I do know that Lewis went out and tested the blow-off at, because it's battery operated down at Tequila's. And as far as we can tell, it operates fine. So I mean, it should be blowing that line off every night. I think it said to do it like 1 in the morning.
Okay.
So why they've got bad samples down there, maybe it's just not a long enough duration to
Clear the line.
Because there's really nothing from Shore Road all the way down to.
It depends where you're getting. If you remember, they could be getting iron out of the hydrant, right? We had that issue
Well,
at
that
that.
was what I was saying, there's probably rust, the hydrants are probably rusty, and so they probably get high.
Maybe we need to if we can set that timer to run a little longer or something, I mean. But we don't, I just can't see putting $16,000 in blow-off in these spigots.
We are losing our operator in town, Sean, from from CWS. He's leaving, so we'll have a new operator. So the thing to do would be to get with him and ask if he thinks, because Sean's the one that asked me about these sample stations, but he's not going to be here for much longer.
So get with the new fella, or?
I'll get with the new operator
Right.
and see if he thinks we need them and the justification for why we need them.
Well, we can always address the number 3 at a later meeting.
I agree.
Let me know what they say.
Exactly.
Let's talk, let's address these two that's got to be done. And can we go ahead and make a motion on this, Scott, where we can do both of them combined?
Yeah, and just make a motion to approve however you
The
identify.
two 2-inch water meters.
Yeah.
I make a motion that, I make a motion to purchase 13 new backflow preventers, and the cost of that and the labor to install them is approximately $10,610. Also, with the same motion, I would like to replace two 2-inch potable water meters at a cost of $5,108.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor by Vice Mayor Robert F. Greenland to approve the replacement of 13 commercial backflow preventers, and also for the labor in the amount of $10,610 approximately. And also included in that motion is the motion to replace the two 2-inch potable water meters at 302 South Center Street and one on Blake Street north of Washington Avenue for an amount of $5,108. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Lenny R. Richardson. All those in favor of these items, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So carried. All right. All right. Moving on to item number 5G, a resolution for handbook, Deputy Clerk Ryan Smith.
Okay, sorry, it's me again. Before we do the resolution for the handbook, Scott pointed out that way back in 1994, they adopted that personnel manual by ordinance.
Okay.
So in our code of ordinances, it basically states that the town hereby adopts new rules and regulations, and all previous personnel regulations are repealed. So this is sort of a two-step process. What this is this is an ordinance to amend our current code of ordinances to remove that language. Basically, I'm just going to replace it with the Pierson Town Council shall adopt and amend personnel rules and regulations by resolution. So if we pass that and change the code to say we can pass it by resolution, then after it gets approved on second read, I can bring the resolution back for the handbook approval. So it's a two-step thing.
So tonight, we're going to vote on
Tonight,
ordinance.
we're just going to do first read on this.
First read.
Literally, the only change is that one sentence down there.
On 2026-04.
Yes.
Okay.
Are we going to read the title?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2026-04 by title only for first reading. An ordinance of the town of Pierson, Florida, proposing amendments to the code of ordinances of the town of Pierson, revising personnel regulations, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing for an effective date.
Okay, does everybody understand the ordinance as read by our attorney? Anybody have any questions?
I make a motion to approve ordinance number 2026-04 on its first reading.
Motion on the floor by Council Vice Mayor Robert F. Greenland to approve ordinance 2026-04 on its first reading. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Lenny R. Richardson. All those in favor say aye. Aye. So, okay, let's do a roll call vote. I'll stand corrected. Yvonne?
Councilwoman Brady Peterson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lenny Richardson.
Yes.
Councilman Jimmy Anderson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Robert Green.
Yes.
Mayor Gray Leonard.
Yes. Let the record show there was a roll call vote done, and it was passed unanimously. All right. Thank you. Moving on to item number 5H, additional exterior lighting, and I'm going to call on Brandy Peterson.
Back when we were doing the repairs for the Christmas celebration, these are some of the lights that didn't get fixed. We had them come out and just give us a quote on fixing them. They're over there by Rev, right? And by the kindergarten classrooms. We fixed all these lights here, but the outer side, and had him look at the pump house over here. What exactly was wrong with it? They couldn't get power, but there is power there because there's, right, right.
Because what?
It's not working, none of the plugs or anything out there work, and power runs to it, so they have
'Cause
to
there's-
trace it back to where it comes from and figure out why.
Because there's pressure in a tank out there, so
Right.
there's power there, but they can't figure out why. Anyways, he came back and troubleshoot that, and there's a box in the cafeteria that turns on all the lights or whatever. The stage lights aren't in sync with the other lights, so they were gonna come in and fix those outlets too. Anyways, to do, I don't even remember, 4 exterior, hallway lights, and it replaces the whole baluster, the whole deal, just like all the other ones. This wasn't any more outlets though, right?
No
Couldn't
more
see,
outlets, it
yeah.
was just, all that stuff had rusted, so they gotta replace all that with PVC or.
Right, right.
Anyways,
Replacing a photo set.
I didn't want this to go lost, which it's been lost since November, or December. It's okay, it's both of us. So, it's 3208 to get all of that finished, getting repaired by Freedom Electric. And that is the only quote I got.
And I will just say, since that time,
Yeah, I saw
that vandalism occurred down there.
I read that, $150.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that would have deterred that.
Troubleshooting is 150 on top of 3208.
Now, on this quote, it says that the troubleshooting is going to be additional at $150 an hour.
For whatever they find through the troubleshooting. This includes the troubleshooting, junction box for the pump shed, restore the power for the outlets. This we will be billed at the time and the material. So I guess the
At $150
troubleshooting is
an hour.
included, but the fixing it is not,
The materials and stuff, okay.
to fix it.
Yeah, whatever.
Because they don't even know what's wrong with it to fix it.
The troubleshooting part should be fairly easy, because he literally said you just gotta trace the line from where it comes into the building. There's a panel on the outside of the building, and there's a sub-panel inside the building. He's just gotta figure out where it's coming from and where it's damaged. We're thinking maybe there's a break in the underground line or something. So he's just gotta trace it back.
Okay, so the amount we're going to approve or not approve is the $3,208 which doesn't include the troubleshooting.
Yeah, you would have to just
Okay.
basically tell us, here's how much it's gonna be to fix whatever that is up there, and you have to bring it back if it's high.
I mean, this is up to y'all. This is, like I said, I had worked on this in December when they fixed all that, and then we had more that we needed to fix, so we just had him give us a quote. I mean, if it's not now, but like Ryan did say, when the vandalism happened up here several weeks ago, it was down there in the dark part of
And
this.
we were asked to put cameras down there, so if we put ADT cameras down there, you're gonna have to light those walkways somehow. There's no night vision on those ADT cameras, so.
It needs to be done.
Okay. Entertain a motion to approve the $3,208 for the electrical work quoted here by Freedom Electric.
I'll make a motion to approve the electrical work by Freedom Electric on the items discussed in the amount of $3,208.
Okay, a motion on the floor by Vice Mayor Robert F. Greenland to approve the $3,208 quote from Freedom Electric to make the discussed proposals here on our electric issues. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Brandy Peterson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So carried.
Thank you. We've got to keep going at repairing stuff around here, even though it's costing us money.
We got to keep it up. Okay.
Got to get people in here.
Item number 5J is Flood Awareness Week proclamation. And I don't know if I have that proclamation. Oh, here it is. I got it. This is a Flood Awareness Week proclamation that we've been asked to make everybody aware of. And Scott, could you go ahead and announce this proclamation for me, please?
Sure. Proclamation Flood Awareness Week. Whereas the town of Pierson has experienced severe weather in the past in the form of extreme rainfall or tropical system events resulting in flooding in riverine and lacustrine areas. And this flooding has caused damage and flood losses to homes and buildings in all areas, whether they are high-risk, special flood hazard areas, or low to moderate-risk flood zones. And whereas the town of Pierson is a voluntary participant in the National Flood Insurance Program that provides residents with the opportunity to protect themselves against flood loss through the purchase of flood insurance at reduced insurance premium rates, as well as setting higher regulatory standards to reduce the flood risk and potential flood damage to their property. And whereas the reduction of loss of life and property damage can be achieved when appropriate flood preparedness, control, and mitigation measures are taken before flood. And whereas public education and awareness of potential weather hazards and methods of protection are critical to the health, safety, and welfare of residents, the Florida Floodplain Managers Association, FMMA, have declared the week of March 9th through March 15th, 2026 as Flood Awareness Week to promote awareness and increase knowledge of flood risk, the availability of flood insurance, flood protection methods, and how to prepare for emergencies. Now, therefore, we, the town of Pierson, do hereby proclaim March 9th through 15th, 2026 as Flood Awareness Week in the town of Pierson, and further encourage the citizens of Pierson to increase their knowledge of how to protect themselves and their property from flooding.
Thank you very much. All righty. Moving on from that, Lester, you're up. The TPO meeting update. If you have anything for us, please.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Lester.
What does TPO mean?
Transportation Planning. Transportation Planning Organization.
Okay. And this is my highlights from the CTST meeting, County Traffic Safety meeting from February 5th. They did not give us fatality numbers for the year, but they indicated that they're not good so far this year.
Okay.
A lot of fatalities. I've got a couple of websites here to apply for grants. Y'all want those if you want it?
If you can just give it to me.
Okay. Sunrail's doing well. Speeding continues to be a problem in the county, especially in school zones. And cell phone use. You cannot use a cell phone in a school zone. You can get a ticket for that. They see it in your hand, you can get a ticket for that. You already can't text in the state. They see you looking at, if the law enforcement officer sees you looking at your phone while you're driving, you can get pulled over for that. In the school zone, you can't have it in your hand at all. It has to be hands-free. They're having problems with the school zone cameras. Cameras must be in the school zone. So I guess some cities are experiencing problems with it. The cameras are not in the school zone.
Okay.
We talked about the sign over here on the corner, and they said that sign is not a problem. I said, well, you have to pull forward past the stop sign to be able to look and see if any traffic's coming, and they said that's not a problem. So I don't think we're gonna get any action on the sign.
I think we're gonna try to send them a letter, because in our sign ordinance, it says that they can't have anything within 10 foot of a right of way. So if the right of way from DOT is to the back of the sidewalk, they're clear within 10 feet.
Those flags too.
Esther.
They are gonna look into the limbs, the dead trees overhanging the sidewalk.
Oh, the ones down south, in the south end of town?
Into that, so we'll see if we get an action on that.
Actually, I got an email today that it's scheduled.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Good job, Lester.
Good deal.
They anticipate pickup in traffic. Next month, we got spring break all month, and then Bike Week is the last week of the month. We're anticipating a lot of traffic in conjunction with that. And that's all I got.
All right. Thank you very much. Anybody have any questions? Thank you, Les. Moving on to item 5K, purchase order for the abandoned glider at the end of our airport. I'm going to turn that over to Ryan Smith, please.
So a gentleman came in and talked to me about the airport, went to school here, asked me a bunch of questions, wanted to know if we had hangars available, et cetera, et cetera. But while we were talking, he works mainly with rebuilding experimental and antique aircraft. And he asked about that disassembled glider that's on my trailer at the end. And if you remember, we went through the whole legal process of noticing that as abandoned property. It technically belongs to us. It has for over a year. We keep saying the public works guys are going to cut it up and haul it off or whatever. This guy said, don't touch it. I'll come get it in a month or so. I will pay you $250 for it. He wants it. He says it's an experimental glider. He knew exactly what it was. He said he'd take the trailer and everything. And I said, well, that trailer's not even drivable. He said, I can rebuild all that stuff. That's what he does as an office. So $250, you were going to scrap it anyway.
Let him take it.
As far as I'm concerned, let him have it and clear the area.
God bless him.
It's been there 12 years.
God bless him.
2 more months, so. It's out of everyone's way.
All right, moving on to item number 5L, talk about scheduling a workshop on our water, and Vice Mayor Robert Green.
Yes, just curious as to, would you like it before the first meeting or before our second meeting? Next month, they're the same dates. The meetings next month are the same dates as they were this month, the 3rd and the 17th.
I would say whichever is best for you, then if it works out for everybody else, I'm flexible unless some emergency comes up.
Most of the time, any Thursday's fine with me.
All right.
I don't know. I'm flexible.
I'm just after 3 now.
I'm flexible.
All right. Give me a date.
Let me see.
The 5th or the 12th?
The 5th or the 12th? Let's do it the 5th.
Okay. What time?
After 3, Brandy said?
Yes, 3's fine.
3's fine?
Mm-hmm.
All right, 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
Workshop on
Thursday,
the water.
the 5th.
March the 5th, 2026 at 3 p.m. All right.
Do we need to be at the workshop or not?
No.
I don't think you do.
No.
All right. Moving on to item 5M, it's a plate compactor for Public Works. I'm going to turn that over to Ryan Smith again.
At 3 o'clock, yeah.
This is my last thing.
All right.
Actually, no, it's not my last thing. We asked the boys to patch a bunch of holes and ask for the
Asphalt, yes.
They used to borrow someone's plate compactor, but they can't now. We don't have one. They asked if we could get one instead of using that roller we used to use. They said this works a lot better. But it's over the $500 minimum that one council person can approve. So just bringing it for your approval or not.
How much is it, Ryan?
$699.99. $700.
$700.
I personally think we need one to help fix our roads. I mean, when you pack that stuff in, it would be nice to have that vibratory packer to pack it in. I mean, we've been needing one for years.
Now, I guess this is the brand they used to borrow from whoever it was we verified. So
Yeah.
He said this one was good. They liked it.
Yeah, they used to use Stephen Coates.
But he sold it or something.
He got rid of it.
I make a motion to approve Central Machine 4 horsepower plate compactor with wheel kit for $699.99.
Motion on the floor by Councilwoman Randy Peterson to approve the purchase of the plate compactor in the amount of $699.99. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Councilmember Jimmy Anderson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So carried. All right, we can order that.
Ryan, have we started keeping a spreadsheet with all of this equipment? First of all, we're going to need it for tax stuff, right? And then,
Well, we should have it on inventory for the CPA to look at.
Correct.
It depreciates over time and that kind of thing, and also for our insurance.
did we ever go over with the boys what we have on there versus, I'm just asking, I'll do it later.
I started a maintenance book for them at one point, where they were supposed to come and document anything they did maintenance on. We talked about an equipment schedule, remember the boys told us at that workshop, oh, we have a list of everything at the
Ours. We need it.
I don't have it, I don't have a copy of it, but yes, there should be an equipment schedule with every piece of equipment we own, because like when we did the surplus auction, we had to go out there and document everything, because they didn't have it at the time.
Okay, good.
So whether or not they've got a current one now, that's a public works question.
I'll ask. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 5N, closing our park bathrooms and park in the evenings. I'm going to turn that over to Councilmember Lenny Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
So we're having some issues at the parks. I guess the deputies aren't closing the gates and locking the bathrooms anymore. And we've had some destruction at North Road Park. Would it behoove us to pay Public Works 30 minutes to go close these gates at dark to prevent?
What gates? Just North Road? You can't close Chipper Jones.
Right.
Maybe just lock the toilets, but I mean,
Yeah.
you got Little League, you got all
Right.
them up there now,
Just
so.
the problem at Chipper Jones is that people are like using a bathroom
On the floor,
at
right.
night, in the night,
Right.
at night. So we were thinking they could lock those and Little League could just use their bathrooms at the concession stand, and they're responsible for their bathrooms.
Yep.
For their kids. But our bathrooms at the playground, we would lock at dark.
So the playground,
And North Road Park completely locked at dark.
Right.
yeah, the playground bathrooms, lock them at night, and then make sure we close the gate at North Road. That's what
The
you're,
boys come in the morning and unlock, they come to clean in the morning, so they can unlock in the morning, but.
So I just wondered what y'all thought about that.
I don't have a
Are we
problem.
still having that problem with defecate in there?
Yeah.
About every other night?
It started again a couple weeks ago.
Boy, I'd like to sit up there one night.
Ain't that,
Cameras up there at one point? We have
have
up there,
cameras.
but the problem is the cameras are outside, so if, 60 people walk in the bathroom, and you know which person.
we don't know which one did it, you know?
Because when there's Little League stuff going on, there's a
It's
constant
not
stream of people in the bathroom.
So should we start having them lock the North Road Park gate and the bathrooms at dark?
I think the North Road Park needs to be locked up for sure once it gets dark. And, because there's no lights in there at all in that park
Right.
after dark, I don't think.
There's a street light in there.
Oh, okay. But I mean, the park, it's not like lit up.
And no, in the park itself is one
Street light, yeah.
by the bathroom.
Scott, is there a minimum call-out time for Public Works? Like, they have to get a minimum, like an hour if we call them out, or how does that usually work?
That's usually set with a union contract. So if you don't have a union, I don't know if you have a standard, if it's in your personnel policies that they get called out.
Yeah.
I know that they get 3 hours on the bathroom for the weekends, because they have to clean and stuff, but.
I think we have a,
It used to be, Brian.
Policy that says they get a minimum of 2 hours.
isn't there something in that employee handbook about that call out?
Well, that is in relation to holiday pay, if you get called out when you're technically
Okay.
supposed to be on a holiday, but you could have technically adapt that, I guess, just as a general overtime policy.
Carball has a question.
So when I used to be up here and I closed the parks, someone comes and opens the parks on the weekend.
Yeah.
I would close it on Friday night and someone would come and open it on Saturday. I don't know who that would be.
It's Public Works.
One of the
Yeah.
Public Works guys, they rotate, and so one of them comes and cleans the bathroom every morning. So they're already there in the morning, they just would have to do it at night. And the cost, their schedule changes now because of the way
Right.
the contract works.
Right.
So we can't ask them because they're not here.
They're not here every day.
All right. Let's review the handbook, see what, if we can get.
We used to get
It wouldn't-
2
it won't
hours
take 30
for
minutes.
any call out.
I mean, they need to be, obviously, they need to be paid for
Oh,
that.
yeah.
But that
Yeah.
would be whatever Public Works works guy is doing the bathrooms that weekend, he would also have that, unless one of them wanted to volunteer. Like, if someone wanted to say, hey, I'll drive around every night and lock all the parks, but otherwise, would you just do it on a revolving thing like you do the weekend?
Yeah.
So whoever's got weekend duty that week goes to the parks at night?
Yeah.
I would think so.
We'll look at the handbook and.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
No.
Lenny? No. All right, moving on to item number 6, other business, updates and reports by the mayor. I have one important update. We had a grand pickleball tournament on February the 14th, the opening of our pickleball season. And I want to put a special thanks out to Mary Kay and to Chris for painting that court and having everything there so everybody could enjoy it and play pickleball. And Chris, everybody had a wonderful time. I didn't play, but I was an observer, and everybody had a great time. And I'm hoping that it'll continue and maybe even get bigger. It was I think a good time was had by everybody. And I would like to offer you a special recognition to both of you guys for all your efforts and all of your donations and volunteer time and everything you did to make that possible. So that was wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
Standing ovation.
We appreciate you guys being here at the meeting tonight as well. Thank you. Because of the time constraints, I'm going to put off my other item. It's got to do with North Road Park, and I'll bring it up at the next meeting. Anybody on the council have any updates? I'll start with you, Vice
I
Mayor.
have something I was going to mention, but it can wait.
Okay. Jimmy?
I've only got one thing, and over at the North Road Park, we got sprinklers on the backside that they've been driving around on. They need to just park out there in the roadway
Where the
instead of parking by the thing, because we do have sprinklers all over that place right there
Okay.
where they've been driving around.
Well, we've only had one vehicle drive back there that I know of, and that was.
Well,
when they
now,
took some
I come
pickleball.
by there yesterday, I think it was, and there was 3 or 4 back there. I'm just saying, we got sprinklers in there.
Who were they?
We don't want to.
Who were?
I didn't go in there. I just figured I'd mention it. That way
Okay.
Mary Kay and them would know who it was and tell them not to be driving there. Park out there in the roadway, because there's plenty of parking out there. That's the only thing. I'm glad they are using the park, and hopefully they'll keep it up.
I do. Before I go on, I do have one thing. I happened to go by North Road Park today, and there was 3 high school kids that had pulled in there. And I took the liberty to walk behind their car and take a picture of their tags. And a couple of them walked over and said, well, why are you taking a picture of my tag? And I said, because we've been having a lot of vandalism in here, and we just want to document the vehicles that are here.
But they were playing
Something
basketball. I'm not defending them, but you can't just go in
were.
there and take pictures of people.
Well, I didn't take a picture of them. I just took a picture of the tag. And I was just being a little proactive, because when I left, they could have spun the park up. At least we'd have had a place to start.
Yeah.
And the tag is on the back of their car. It's like it's public display. Anybody can see it at any time.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like I snuck into their house and took a picture of them in the living room. But I just mainly wanted to make them aware we were having that problem. So hopefully, if they had kind of thought about doing it, they wouldn't. But we've been having a lot of spin-out damage over there. A lot.
Yes, I have one thing. I was contacted by the family of John Flowers in regards to using the community center for a reception on Wednesday at 1 o'clock.
This
I said,
Wednesday.
I will, not tomorrow.
Next Wednesday.
A week from tomorrow. Okay.
And I don't think we should charge them.
I
agree.
I agree with that. I have no problem with that.
I have nothing else.
Tragic.
It is,
John.
it's tragic.
It's just horrible.
And Carmi passing away.
Yeah.
God bless her soul.
95.
Pierson.
Yeah, we didn't have opening day for Little League is this Saturday and our events, and also, Chris's work truck is blown up. So just in case y'all don't know, we're fixing to have to buy a work truck.
That's what I was going to mention.
Yeah.
I had
Trucks,
I
yeah.
got some phone calls.
Yeah.
Work trucks.
I just
We-
mentioning it just to.
We are going to have to be in the process of buying at least 2 trucks somehow or another.
Shortly.
Because Chris's is down, it's blown up, it's old, and Lewis's is, we're just holding it together with
Band-Aid.
baling wire.
But that's all I have.
Okay. Does anybody in the audience have anything you'd like to bring up at this time? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Melissa Thorne. I'm from DeLand, the unincorporated side, by the way. I contacted Chair Brower. He is aware of your vehicle needs, and he is in process of acquiring some vehicles for y'all. So he was supposed to speak to someone as of yesterday. He was in county council meeting this evening, and I didn't get a chance to get a hold of him. But I should know maybe something tomorrow, and hopefully I'll be able to have some news for y'all.
All right.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you.
Certainly. Also, I was here last month and I spoke to y'all about the toilet to tap. This evening, they did vote, the county council did vote on putting forth an ordinance and also an amendment for the charter on the ballot in November, and they declined both.
Right.
It was 4-3, unfortunately. So I will keep doing my very best, and I'm going to each city council meeting and trying to work from your perspective. They, of course, can only do whatever they can for the unincorporated areas, but you guys have full control over your water rights as of right now. As long as Tallahassee doesn't preempt anything, that you can pass ordinance and you can pass charter also. So just an update for y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yvonne or Ryan, maybe if you don't hear anything from a council member,
We can reach out.
you can reach out to Jeff. Okay. Anybody else have anything? Skip. Yes, ma'am.
Mark's been waiting.
No, I'm gonna get him. Yes, ma'am.
Melissa Thorne, Horse from DeLeon Springs. I'm an observer here for the Northwest Dems, and I'm confused about the presentation of the sheriff's department, because it's my understanding that Little League can't play up there because you don't have a deputy.
That's false.
That is
From
something
DeLand
that's
Little
being
League.
spread by DeLand Little League.
DeLand Little League has tried for years to get out of play in Pierson, and that was their way, to say we didn't have a contract with the sheriff's department when we were renegotiating and going forward with that. That was their part.
Do you have a contract with?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
So what I saw from the sheriff's department is what's skewed.
Correct.
So the DeLand Little League is off base?
Yes, they are.
Yes.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
In
All
more
right,
ways, more ways than one.
Last but not least, I want to ask my attorney, do you have anything you'd like to add? Okay. Mark?
Well, I'll be here this Thursday, talk to people about their land use and zoning issues from 9 to 11:30. We have received a draft of the updated wastewater facility plan, which we're reviewing now, that will come forward to you guys at a future meeting to transmit it to the state. It does update some of the costs, about $3 million more than it was 4 years ago. So, and for what this is worth, we are being told that next week SGS will be out here to do some install the flow meters and do some electrical work, and the Barneys will be I guess what they're going to do is surge suppression and the flow meter next week, and then Barney's will be out the week after with the transmitter, and then we will be able to bring the plant online. This was an update that we received earlier today.
I have a question about that water plant. Those wells aren't running, right?
No.
How is it then that a bird sat on a lever where that shower is to go under it in case you spill chlorine on yourself?
There's water there.
And water's running out of it.
There's water there.
Is it backflowing from the other system?
Yes.
Is that what, okay, all right.
We had to have an emergency put out there for the eye station, and
Yeah.
there's another
Okay.
that on the
So
list
that-
of that for something.
Yeah.
That water's coming from our
That's
existing,
coming from our existing.
okay,
it's on
all
park
right,
meter.
just a question.
That's the line that was come from between the community center and the intersection, right, that cuts across that field?
Okay,
That's-
all right. That's it.
That's it.
Updates by staff. Ryan, Yvonne, do you guys have anything? You've talked enough, Yvonne? All right. Anybody in the public, last chance?
Don't forget to meet up here. Yeah.
Good and welfare public participation, we had nobody. I'm going to go over a couple events. The Pierson Vendor Market is going to be on February the 21st, 2026, here at the Town Center from 9 to 2. We have some upcoming meetings. Next council meeting on March the 3rd, 2026 at 6:30, followed by one on March the 17th at 6:30. And a planning commission meeting is on Tuesday, February the 24th, 2026. And remind everybody, we can probably try to take my truck tomorrow. We need to be here between 6:45 and 6:50 to head down to our ethics training. Being no further business, this meeting is adjourned.